So let's start with this, because marketing is just an operation, a part of a business that operates like any part of any of your businesses. It just works, okay? But like anything, you've got to know what you want to achieve from it. Otherwise, how can you measure whether or not it's working? And I think most people get so carried away by the latest fad, the latest thing, that they focus on TikTok or YouTube or content or whatever the thing is, or AI is the latest one, rather than actually, what am I actually here to do? What am I here to achieve? How can I tell if this is a success or not? So what I want you to do is just take a minute and think about 31st December this year, the end of the year, and write down a number of how much extra sales you would like your business or your partnership in the business or whatever you're within the business to achieve extra to what you are now as a number. So it could be 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, a million, whatever that number is. But I don't want you putting any constraints on it, as in, but if we had another technician or if we have another room or another whatever, just write down the number of sales extra that you would like to achieve as a number. Just do that now for me. I'm just going to drag this, not to put this in front of you, but to just make it a bit easier to see. If I do that one there, is that right? And then you sort of either side of you two. We'll just block my mood out of the way, it's fine. Okay, we all got a number. Yeah? Okay. So that's going to be your measurement as to whether your sales and marketing works. Because without marketing, there's no sales. And without sales, there's no marketing. The two go hand in hand. And obviously, I know Mahmood said that he bored you to death this morning about numbers and all that kind of accounting stuff. Very, very important, but it is something that, again, should be looked at the whole picture. Everybody, when they does marketing, focus on that bit of it. You've got to focus on the marketing and the sales and what happens to the whole lot. So, that number you've written down, just shout out, what sort of numbers have we got? Anywhere? 200k, good number, yeah. 250, great, okay, good. Any number there. Right, good. Okay, so obviously I'm not going to get down into deep numbers of profit. You probably will know roughly what your profit is out of those extra sales, okay? So we'll look at profit, but just to keep the numbers nice and rounded, I'll give you some examples obviously on that. So what my job now is over the next hour and a bit is to show you how using paid marketing specifically, how you can achieve that number with virtually no risk whatsoever. Does that sound good? Okay. How do I know this works? As Mahmood said, we met, what did you say, 2017? Was it that long ago? Blimey. It's amazing how time flies, isn't it? I've been doing this for 20 years. Now, I know a lot of you say, well, hold on a minute, Mark, you only look 25, so how could you be doing this for 20 years? No, I'm nearly 50. I started this when I was 24 years old. Back in the day, do you remember when you used to have to plug your modem into the telephone socket in the wall? And it made that really screechy noise. I'm not going to do it because it always annoys the audio technicians in the room when I do it. And it takes like 12 minutes to load. Typically AOL, because that was the thing back then that you could use. And then what would happen is your mum or your brother would go and pick up the telephone to make a phone call, and the whole thing would cut off, and you had to start over again. 15 minutes later, the web page finally loads. All to find out what the latest news was, because that's about all you could do back then. So what I looked at was how could I use the internet to obviously drive business to my business, which back then was something I was doing as a little sideline, or a side hustle as it's now known. Just to me, it was just earning some extra money on the side. And I set up a little camcorder business online. I was one of the very first people to actually market digital camcorders. Except they weren't really digital camcorders. They were more like suitcases back then that used to sit on your shoulder and carry around filming things. And I actually made it into the Sunday Times as a review of one of my websites saying, and I think the words were quite polite, it said, great prices, terrible design. Well, something along that lines, because it was all home designed by me. I didn't have any graphic designers. But that business went on to do £1 million as a part-time side hustle, as it's now known. And that was all using very early on paid advertising back then. We used to buy little banner ads. That was the thing back then. So I started that, and I realised the real power of that. 24 years later, we've done, I've counted up on the way in, 9 businesses that have all done over £1 million plus in profit and beyond, all using paid advertising. Because the way I like to build businesses is speed, efficiency, and tracking. Now, I know Mahmood, etc., and all you guys probably have talked about free content, establishing you as the expert in the industry. There's definitely a place and a time for that. But if you want to hit that number that you've all written down right now, paid advertising is the way to do it. Okay? Question, just shout out. Anyone here done paid advertising before? Raise your hands, probably the easiest way. Okay, a couple of you. Okay, keep your hand, you two, name, sorry. Demo. Okay, and has that worked for you? Very well. What sort of, do you know a return you're getting on it, or? 12 times. Really good. Fantastic. Give them a round of applause, because that's good, because there's not many people that can do that. Yourself as well, gentlemen? Hi, Bobby. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, good. So about a similar sort of number, 10 to 12 times return. Really, really good. Most people do paid advertising and then it doesn't work and they blame the platform or the metric or the thing they're looking at. They don't look at why is it not working, because what I do know and what I've proven time and time again now is you should be able to, and most definitely can do, and we do this day in, day out, both for our businesses and our clients' businesses, is get a 2-to-1 return in cash in the same calendar month. So to put that in perspective, let's say you spend £1,000 on ad today, 30 days from now, you should have at least £2,000 cash in your bank account that you can then pay the £1,000 to the ad company that you're buying. In this case, I'm going to call it, I'll caveat this, Facebook I call it still. I know it's now Meta because it's all their trendy name and they change it to whatever, and Signals or whatever they call in the various things. So I'm always going to call it Facebook, but obviously that means Facebook is Instagram and thing, which is Meta. So 2-to-1 return in 30 days cash. You pay the advertiser, you've now left with a 200% return, essentially. And then over the lifetime, depending on what you're doing, 12-to-1 is great. You could get a lot higher than that. Now, that's the minimum number I look to see is 2-to-1 cash. Could be a lot more if you get more people paying in full for your treatments, etc., or your services. Then obviously that's the name of the game. It's going to shift that number very quickly. So the people who are not doing advertising paid, just shout out, why is it you're not doing it? Don't understand it. Okay, yeah. Anybody else? Some of this one. Don't know what's paid for it, don't know how to work out a number, don't know if it's going to work, etc. Okay. Is it overwhelm of choice as to where to start? Is the other thing probably I hear a lot of the time. I don't know where to advertise. Should I go TikTok? Because everyone's talking about TikTok right now. Probably be banned at some point in America if Biden has his way, but I won't get political. But ultimately, it's kind of like, okay, the key thing I would say is a metric, and I always write this down. If it doesn't work on Facebook, it won't work anywhere. And I'll tell you and show you why over the next hour or so, okay? So always, always, always start with Facebook. It's the easiest platform to use. They're the least sensitive about what you can and can't say in ads. Still sensitive, but nowhere near as bad as, say, Google, who will shut down an account and never let you in again. They're a bit more forgiving if you happen to miss a payment, whereas I know people on Google have had their accounts suspended because they missed a payment or a credit card fell over or the bank very kindly blocked your payment for you to try and protect you. Don't get me started on that one. I get that a lot. And it's kind of like, okay, fine, no problem. So I would say if you start anywhere, start on Facebook. That's what I'm going to talk to you about today. But obviously once it works on Facebook, then yes, you could look at branching out to other platforms. But I'm going to argue a case here that most of you could get to, certainly I've got one business up to about £6 million just using Facebook. That's it. Facebook, paid advertising, that's it. Then we only branched into YouTube, TikTok, etc. Okay. The reason is Facebook and Instagram now, that's like the powerhouse because of the amount of people they can cover and the amount of data they can collect. Okay. Make sense? Any questions so far? Just shout out.
When you say Facebook, you mean Instagram as well?
Yeah, so when I say, because I'm like 50 next year and I'm really old and got grey hair, I basically call Facebook, as I say, it's Meta, which is Instagram and Facebook, because they're the same company, even though they're two different brands in essence. But it's a good question because they cover the whole demographic almost, because anyone that's sort of sub 25 are typically on sort of TikTok mainly, but do also go on Instagram a lot. Anyone 25 and above, right away up to 65, 70, 80, even 90, which my mum is on Facebook. Okay, so they're on kind of Facebook and Instagram. That's why they got the coverage there from there compared to, say, TikTok, which is very much at the end. But there's a good argument for TikTok later on as well. Okay, so essentially, here's the deal. There's really only two ways to grow business, right? You probably know this already. One is to, what? Sell more to same people. Yeah, we've heard that one before. So basically, if they're spending £1,000 with you, if you can get to spend 2,000 and you get every client doing that, you've doubled your business. Very simple, right? Not always as easy in practice, but I'll also address that later on when we come on to talking about how to market. And then the other way to grow your business is to sell to how many new people you can go and get. Okay, so existing clients, new clients. And that's really all you're ever going to do in marketing. You're either marketing to get people to buy more from you or more often, or you're going to get new people in who don't know you before to come and buy from you, okay? That's really it. So when you look at that now, all the other choices you have of email marketing, and we do all this kind of stuff, anything digital I'm involved with. If it's email marketing, it's either there to get a customer or to sell more to a customer, okay? If it's Facebook, it's there to get a customer or to sell more to a customer. That's really, everything you do should be one of those two things. And when you look at it like that, it starts to make your marketing and your sales a lot easier because you're now focused on that one thing. I see so many people trying to address 20 different things in ad copy this big. It's never going to work, and I'll show you why, okay? So when you're selling or marketing, not all you want to write this down, not all leads are created equal. Okay, not all leads are created equal. It's one of my sort of golden rules. You've got to remember this. Who here has had someone referred into their business? Just raise your hand. I.e., one client said, I've got someone, come down. Is that easy or hard to sell to them? Easy? Yeah? They just go, yeah, my friend told me about you. I'm sitting in your chair or your lab or wherever. This is really easy. Yeah, okay, I'll do whatever you say. I also think all of you should never underestimate the power that you have with your qualifications that you hold. I hold a qualification in marketing, but it means kind of nothing really in the big world out there. But a lot of you have probably been trained, obviously, as a dentist. You've had X years of training and you're recognised. So therefore, when you're prescribing the treatment to the client, they look at you with a level of respect that I could never earn because I'm only a marketer. I'm kind of like the dirty guy, okay? Whereas you guys are all professionals. So don't underestimate the power of that if you lead a client or a prospect as a doctor, dentist, nurse, whatever, anything medical, they're going to believe you more than they'll believe me, okay? That's the key thing. And I think the key thing is, like, all leads are not created equal on two things. First thing is, if they're like a referral, they're dead easy, okay? They're what I kind of call in the sales and marketing term a lay down. Not literally they lay down, they might do it in your chair, but ultimately they're a lay down, i.e. I could be what I call a sales prevention officer, i.e. I'm going to do everything to not let you buy and you'll still want to buy from me because they're so hot, they're so well referred, they're so pre-sold the moment they get in the chair, and I'll use that term and obviously adapt it to whatever language you use internally, that they're just going to buy almost, okay? So they're really easy to sell to. But the filter we all put on this typically is that we then think that all the leads that we're now going to bring in from all our marketing are all going to behave the same way. They will not, because they're not warm leads, okay? If we're selling to existing clients, more services, fine, that's different. But I'm going to talk about bringing in new leads. They are going to behave dramatically different to someone who's a referred lead, okay? Where I see so many people that we work with fall over is, oh, the lead isn't good, it's this, that, and the other. And when we then get involved and take on board that lead and put it through a process, a systematic way of communicating with the client before, during, and after the appointment, the lead is very good. It's just that the expectation from the person who was selling to them thought it was a referred lead. Does that make sense? Okay? So you've got to really adjust your mindset around, and I can use that word because I know Mahmood talks about it a lot, like you're thinking around a lead. Okay? Not all leads are created equal. Make sure that when you're looking at where that lead has come from, that you're going to adjust your language, your tone, your pitch, etc., and talk to them in a way that they want to be spoke to based on where they've come from. And that's either, have they been referred? Have they seen you in an advert? Have they bumped into you? Have they seen you at a conference? Have they seen you on YouTube? Whatever the thing is, be aware of where they came from. And that's where tracking comes in. We'll speak about that a little bit later as well. The key thing with it is that also the platform they come from is going to be very different. If you're registered, ranked on Google, and someone types in dentist, wherever we are in the world here, London, Chiswick or wherever, people are more likely to be warmer because they're actively searching for a solution. Whereas on all the other platforms, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc., they're not searching for you. You're interrupting their pattern of behavior to then say, hi, I'm here, do you need this thing that I'm looking to sell to you? Okay? So that's the other key thing to remember. It's those two things, what type of lead they are and where they've come from. I'm going to talk about Facebook again and give you exact examples of that, of how that works. So, when it comes to marketing, I want you to think of it as an investment. Who here has property of any description that they bought and invested in? Yeah? Okay. So when you go and look at a property, what do you look for? Just shout out. What do you look for? When you were looking to buy an investment property, what's the thing you look at? Like I have. What do you look for? Yeah? The area. What else do you look for? Return on investment, yeah? You look at how much am I going to put into this deal, this property? How much money is it going to make me back in rent? Over how long? And if you're really kind of getting sophisticated, what's the percentage of return on that year or calendar month? What's then the sort of aggregated volume of income I'm going to generate over a period of time? What's the uplift in value of the property as well? All these kind of things come into your decision for you to go, yeah, I'm going to buy and rent out this particular property. So then, obviously, if something goes wrong, and we've all probably, if you've had property, you've had a tenant move out or you've had a tenant wreck the place or whatever, your metrics now, you're looking at it going, right, I've got an empty month here. This is costing me money. It's making my return on investment come down, right? Yeah? Marketing should be exactly the same. You need to look at it with a set of eyes as if it's an investment in your business. And I'm telling you now that in 120 days of doing this, you can basically set up multiple investments for your business in marketing that is not just scalable, but infinitely scalable, particularly with Facebook, because you can't create more searches on Google, right? If I'm in Chiswick and I'm typing in Chiswick emergency dentist and that's who you are, there's only 50 searches, 100 searches, 500 searches a month, right? So if you're in Google and that's how much traffic you're getting, I can't create more Google searches, right? There might be more population coming into that area, but it's going to be minor. Whereas with Facebook, you can target different offer, different type of market, etc. And Facebook will know and adapt that to give you what you need. But you've got to look at it as an investment. Because whenever I put money into marketing, particularly Facebook, I'm always looking to get my cash returned at a minimum of 2 to 1. I have to watch how I do that, 2 to 1, in that same month, okay? Because then I know realistically it's costing me nothing to advertise. Does that make sense? Yeah? Put my £1,000 in advertising, I make, say, £2,000 back. I'm £1,000 up, it has cost me nothing. And one massive tip I'll give you is, if you aren't doing this already, get yourself an Amex card. Amex Gold or Amex Platinum. Amex Gold is free for a year and it's £200 a year. You'll accumulate a lot of points, putting all your ad spend through that. And then basically you can then redeem that in points. I've been on many very nice holidays, experiences, executive boxes, concert tickets, all that kind of stuff, all thanks to Amex, on money that I would have paid out anyway to Facebook, but I've just put it through an Amex card and I've got all the benefits as well. Okay, and they're really marketing this quite heavily now. The minor downside is obviously you've got to pay it back at that same month, but you can do the same with a 0% interest credit card. Use that, and again, I'm not going to kind of get you to get into debt kind of thing, but you could use that to fund that whole thing, and it's costing you no interest as well. But like I say, that's really a key thing there. Is then the beauty is, particularly with Amex, don't know exactly the number. I think it's something like 58 days potentially you can get on your money. So if you put a charge now, they kind of bill it up at the end of the month, and like the 26th of the month, anything that's due between that last period, you don't pay till the following month. So actually you can get almost 2 months on your money. So now that means a new bigger return, right? Is this making sense so far? Okay, I appreciate I'm not getting into like Facebook yet. Don't worry, I will do. But it's really, really important you look at like shifting your mindset as advertising and marketing and sales is not a risk, it's an investment. Because if you can build up a series of ads over the next 120 days, you will get to that number you've written down there with virtually no risk whatsoever, because you know it can return at 2 to 1. But there's a testing period involved to make sure you find the ad. And I'll show you exactly what that can look like and how you would do it to ensure then it works. But guess what? Once it works in returning you 2 to 1, guess what you have to do? Very little, if anything, apart from just keep pushing the budget up. You just tell Facebook, I'm spending £100 a day, I want to spend £200 a day. That's still working. 2 to 1 return. Right, I want to spend £300 a day, 400, 500, 600. On average, I spend about now across the 9 companies that we're paying ads out for my businesses, the ones that I'm involved with, around about, now it varies, but about 15 to 30,000 a day, depending on the day of the week, etc., and what we're doing. So we're constantly up in the budget all the time, just on ads, but we're getting like a 6 to 1 return on the front end and a much, much bigger on the back end, because it's more, some of you have courses here, don't you? So if there's obviously a digital product, then the profit is way, way higher. So obviously you get a much bigger return. But ultimately, testing is key. Once you've gone through that 120-day period, could be a lot less. We've run campaigns that within the first 7 days of launching them, that it's just worked straight away, and people are getting sales in at £50 for a new client, which is like unbelievable, like £50 for a new client. So this is very, very profitable. So it can work straight away, but if you allow yourself 120 days, like you would do if you're buying a property, you sit down, you look at your numbers, you weigh it all up, you go and buy it, you put the thing in, you wait for your money to get deposited with the solicitor, the keys to complete, you do whatever renovation, you then rent it out, that's now earning money. This is no different. If you look at it with those sets of eyes, you will get a better result and a quicker result because you haven't got to wait 10 years for the property to double in value before you really make your money and cash out. You literally get it in the same month. Make sense? All alive so far? Yeah, I'm not boring you. If I am, just shout. Any questions so far? You all good? No? Okay. All right. So I think then the key thing really is that one of my sayings, and you want to write this one down, is all marketing works at a price. Okay? Can anyone guess what that means? All marketing works at a price. What do we think that means? You will get a lead. It depends what you're willing to pay for a lead. Good answer. Yeah. Anybody else over this side? What we got? Don't be afraid. I don't bite. Any guesses? Don't worry if not. If you haven't, it's fine. I can explain it. But I think you're getting the idea, certainly here. If I am terrible at marketing and I put out the worst, let's go back to old school days where we used to do flyers and Yellow Pages ads. Who remember those things? They're still just about going. By the way, if you're not doing any direct marketing right now, that is a really good way to generate new clients, because like leaflets through doors, when was the last time you got a letter addressed to you asking you to buy something? Or a catalogue. Do you remember catalogues? Catalogues coming through the post. No one does it anymore because we're lazy. We all want to go the digital route. I love the digital route, but I also like the traditional routes as well. So basically, all marketing works at a price. And that is, if I've got the worst ad in the worst place, and I leave it there and pay for it long enough with the wrong message on it, saying all the wrong things, eventually, could be a day, a year, 5 years, 10 years, 500 years, eventually it will generate me a lead. And then if I generate enough leads from it, I should then, even if I've got what I call a sales prevention officer, which sometimes is like a receptionist or someone who's really medical and just sort of talks medical to people and they don't really understand what they're saying, eventually someone will go, I'll buy. Okay, so like even if you put your worst salesperson with the worst piece of marketing and leave it in the wrong place for long enough, eventually it'll work. And that's really the key thing to remember, is what are you willing to pay to acquire a client? Okay, a cost for client acquisition. Okay, that's what we call it in the trade. So how do you work that out? Because that was one of the questions about like, why am I not doing it? What's stopping me starting? I don't know what to pay. Well, the answer is it's individual to your business. Okay, individual to your business. So what's really important is to understand what that looks like. So what we're going to look at here, let's see if I can get a slightly chunkier pen than that, because it might make sense. Do a blue one. Okay, so what we're going to look at here is what is the service that you're selling. I'm going to keep jumping around because otherwise I'll block you. What is the service you are selling? Okay, so who wants to do this with me live kind of thing? We'll do it for a business. Raise your hand. Who's first? Yep, gentleman at the end. Right, so what is it you're selling? What is it you're selling?
So I'm selling a program to allow young dentists to be able to essentially earn more money in practice, in private practice.
Okay, so we're going to call that, I'm just going to call that training, okay? And what do you sell that for?
Price point?
Yep.
Right,
oh, the mic, I forgot about the mic. Sorry, I always get told off about the mic. Yep.
it's going to be $3,000.
$3,000, great price, well done. Okay, so we've got our 3K price point, okay? So that is what we are selling. So again, think of it like an investment. We're selling at 3,000, okay? Now, what is our cost to deliver that service? Now, caveat. People always get so like het up of, yeah, but I've got, Mary the receptionist, I've got the electric bill to pay, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, with training, it's probably online, so it's different. But your fixed costs are your fixed costs, okay? We've got to amalgamate that across the business before we open the door. But to deliver this particular thing, so if it was an Invisalign treatment, it's 3K, let's say, and 50% profit margin, it's cost us £1,500 to deliver that service, okay? Yes, there's the additional costs around the business running, but if the business is running anyway, the costs are there regardless. So with this, what approximately is your cost to fulfill that?
So online platform Zoom, I think it's 120 quid plus about $2,000 a year in a live day cost, so about, let's say 2,500 a year.
Okay. And is that a year as well there, is it, for that?
No, that's 4 months.
4 months. So that would then be 12K a year you're charging, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's per person. Th- So that'll be 3 cohorts. So that's what, 90K a year potentially.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. That's what I mean. So realistically, with an online one, your costs are going to be virtually nothing almost. Whatever the platform is, and you probably already recorded the videos or whatever's in there. You might have some live training like this, which costs you £1,000 or 2,000 or whatever once a quarter or whatever. So I'm just going to be kind of generic here then, and let's just say that costs you, I don't know, £300, which is very, very slim. Okay, to sell a £3,000 program, it costs you £300 in costs. Without any marketing or anything, just literally that is my cost to deliver what I've promised I'm sold, okay? So then what we've got to look at is, okay, how much now am I willing to pay out of this remainder? So we're now going to subtract that from that, which is, if maths is my strong point, which it's certainly not. I got an E in maths, by the way, so I apologise in advance a long time ago. We got £2,700 to play with, okay? That is what we have as pure profit if we sell one of those courses at 3K, less my £300 to fulfill it. So my question is then, how much of this would you be willing to spend to acquire a £3,000 sale?
Right now, probably all of it.
Okay, good. That's, again, if I use the investment strategy, that's like a high risk, isn't it? It's like, right, I'm going to put all my money in because I know, and I do that in some businesses where I actually pay more than that to basically get a client because I know they're worth more on the lifetime. This is where you see a lot of these subscription services like mattresses and that kind of stuff, and certainly energy drinks and potions and lotions, all that sort of stuff out there. Get your first month free, get 3 months free. You know, all the TV services, Netflix, Disney, all that, do that because they know the lifetime value of the client. Very specific, very advanced. But
So you mean per client?
Yeah.
Oh, right. No, you're fine. Okay. I thought you meant for like an overall budget for the year.
Yeah, no.
Oh, right.
Okay, so to acquire one sale, just to be clear, one sale at 3,000, less your £300, you're left with 2,700. How much are you willing to spend on that? To acquire one sale. There's no right or wrong answer.
Maybe about 10 to 20% of that.
Okay. This is the number that I suggest you all start with. Okay? 50%. Sounds a lot. But if I walked up to you into the street and I said, hi, tell you what, I'm willing to give you some money. And basically, if you give me £1,500, I'll go and return you a 3K sale, which is essentially going to give you, what's that, £1,200 left at the end of it. Oh, okay. You wouldn't say no. If that was a property and you go, right, buy a property, and I hope that makes sense if I just use the property because everyone kind of understands it as an investment. It's like, okay, I'm going to buy a property at that price, I'm going to put that amount of money in, and I'm going to return it back. That's what I'm willing to spend the most of to acquire that property because I know I can rent it out at £600 or £6,000 a month if it's in London for a shoebox. I can basically rent that out for that amount of money knowing I'm going to get that, as long as I've got a tenant in there and all the other things around it. But I know if I spend $500,000 on that property, I can rent it for 60 grand a month. That makes sense as an investment based on what I'm looking to achieve. So you should aim for, and it doesn't mean we're going to pay this, but if you acquire, like you said, 10 to 20%, no. Because remember, all marketing works at a price. And in the market, we don't know who we're up against. There may be, and there probably is, your competition have a much bigger budget than you. There may be bigger clients who have much bigger marketing teams, etc. So they can afford to spend more because they understand the value of acquiring a client, but also probably know the lifetime. And I suspect for you, like that's going to go way, way up as they stay with you as your program's good and you would put in other services, etc. around it. Does that make sense? So whatever you're looking to sell one of, whatever your fulfillment costs come off of that, and then you're looking to spend 50% of that to acquire a client, okay? So with that in mind, then we are, what's that? I'm going to make my life really difficult here. I should just rounded it down. 1,350. So that's what we're looking to acquire a 3K client. I'd be quite happy with that if I set up a business and within the first 2 months, I spent out £1,350 and I got a sale back in at 3,000. That's a pretty good start, yeah? So it's the same for your existing businesses. Yes, you've got some costs here, but particularly for those who have like dentist chair, like chairs, physical chairs that sit in there. My background when I first left school was certainly initially athletics and that kind of stuff, but then I went into retail. And it taught me a lot of lessons. Every bit of dead space, like these hotels make me die because the amount of dead space they have that they do not see the value in. It's the same with your practices. Anytime you've got a spare space on a desk or a workstation or a chair, it is costing you money. It's not making you money, it's losing you money, because that space could be employed at 3K in this case, okay? And just because it's digital, we get even lazier, because we're like, well, the license is only £150 a month and I can have 1 million people on it. Even more reason to fill it up with 1 million people on it. Do you know what I mean? Because that's really the key thing. The internet's great, but it's also made us very, very lazy, because we just go, oh, it's only a small amount. I lost count of how many subscriptions I've signed up for things that I'm now paying for 7 years later, $19 a month. And I'm like, I haven't used that thing in like 10 years. Best thing to do with that one is always pretend to lose your card, cancel the card, then everything gets cancelled, as I once learned. So basically $13.50. So then, okay, right, we now know what we're willing to pay as a maximum to achieve a sale of 3K. How many leads now do we need to make a sale, in essence? So with that, what we're going to do now is divide that number by 10, okay? So what that now means is you should be aiming as a metric, or what we call a KPI, to pay up to, I'm not saying you will, up to £135 to get a lead, okay? Now, who here, just raise your hand, thinks that is absolutely ridiculous? You'd never pay it. Be honest, I don't mind. Okay, good. You're all thinking along the right lines. The key with that is that what we'd expect out of 10 leads is that, remember I said not all leads are created equal. It all starts with your marketing message, and we'll come on to that shortly, about what words you are saying to what I call decommoditize you against your competition. Okay, because I have no doubt that there is 20 other training courses out there for junior dentists, and you've got your own way of doing it, but you're probably not telling me why. You're telling me what the thing is that I solve, not the thing that you the thing that you do, not the thing that you actually solve for me. I'll come on to that in a second when we talk about the words and things like that. The reason, if you get that right, these 10 people here, you should see around 80% of them actually show up for the thing they've opted in for. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then typically, you should be aiming to make these numbers work. 25% of those people close. So at your 10 leads, you should see, in essence, 2 sales. That's what we would expect with paid advertising. And again, that's just a series of numbers that if you hit those, you've got a nice profitable return. If you get this better and you get this down to £70 a lead, well, now you're going to make even more money, because you're going to make even more sales because more people are showing up. If you get this down to £50 a lead, well, now you're like 5 times better, 3 times. You know what I mean? Like, the multiples are massive when you bring these numbers down, because you get better at marketing, okay? And that comes through testing different things, and I'll give you what you need to look at to test. Does that all make sense? Yeah? Has anyone been put off by the idea of investing in marketing, or have you got now more excited about, I can see my pathway and my numbers as to how I could make this actually work? Yeah? Raise your hand if I've got you all on board. Good, fantastic. Okay, good. For those of you who don't kind of run like direct dental, but you run like, I think one of you guys runs a denture practice. I don't know if that is it yourself. I've got one client. We're currently generating appointments for him for £15. So again, if you do the mathematics on that, he sells at 2.5, I think it is 3,000. He's up in Manchester. Same rules apply. It's no different. Okay, it's just that obviously the number is much, much smaller than a typical dentist, because most people don't kind of advertise. They're always going after dentists. You poor guys probably get hammered with marketing companies saying, "No, do this, do that." But like these sub markets like dentures, no one's touching them at all. So therefore, Facebook are pricing that traffic a lot less. So definitely can work for you as well. Okay. Good. Okay, so think of marketing as investment. Once you kind of know these numbers, these are your maximum. So again, imagine if you're now buying that property over there, you're going, right, I'm willing to pay, well, God knows how much it'll be, probably like £16 million or something for that corner plot. I'm willing to pay £16 million because I've done my numbers. I know where it's got to sit. I'm not going to spend a penny more than that, because otherwise the metric, the investment will not work. Or I'm going to have to move my expectation, okay? But all of these numbers can get you to a 2-to-1 return within a maximum of 120 days or less. Could be the same week you start running ads, and will get you to your number that you want to get to. Because now we need to go is, right, I want to achieve 200,000 between now and Christmas. Okay, what are you selling? I'm just going to do a verbal one. I'm selling a program at 2,500. Okay, great. You've got to sell X number. How much am I willing to pay? Right, that's how much you need to spend on marketing as a budget. Doesn't mean you're going to need to spend all of it, but you can at least know where you're going to go before you start. Like a sat nav, you've got to program it. And this is really important with Facebook. If you don't tell it kind of what you want, it will go off like a 6-year-old kid on sugar. And it will just go off and spend your money everywhere and anywhere. And you'll just get bills through every day and you'll wonder what they're for and they're not working. Okay? You've got to be specific. And that starts with you knowing your numbers better than Facebook about what you're willing to pay to acquire a client here, but also what you're willing to pay to get someone as a consult. Okay? That's really the key thing. Okay? Always, always, always sell something that's a consult, if that makes sense. Do not try and sell the thing. If you try and sell the thing from the ad, it will not work. We're not in 1990 where we could do that. You have to sell something free. I'll give you the reasoning why in a second, but it's really, really important. If you're trying to market something now and say, pay me money now in the industries you're in, it will not work. I've tested it. I'm always testing these things. I test about 300 different things a month, just to check different things are still correct as my assumptions. In the 1990s, we could get away with doing that, but unfortunately now, just because the market is so crowded, people just go, well, okay, I've seen an ad 12 times today, and Facebook are your best friend but your worst enemy, because guess what? What happens when you, and you sometimes might have to watch this, if you go and visit a website, okay, and you then go back to Facebook, what do you now start seeing? Same content, ads of that product or service. And they know that because we all put a bit of code on our web pages, in other words, that tells Facebook someone's been there. And then Facebook very kindly then now show all your competitors' ads. And you kind of done all the hard work to get them over to your website, and maybe they didn't buy or didn't opt in or whatever the thing was. And now Facebook are bombarding your lead, in essence, with all the competition's ads. So we have to navigate around that. I'll show you how to do that in a second. You can't stop it, but you can certainly stand out, which is the key thing, which, again, really affects the pricing and everything else and the lead generation. Okay? So just be aware of that. Okay, so here's the deal. So the real question is then, we now know with Facebook we want to achieve kind of our goal. I'm just going to have a sip of water. Why Facebook? Why should I use, I'm going to call it Facebook, why Meta? Why should I use Facebook? We've mentioned it a couple of times. Just shout out, why do you think we should use Facebook?
The audience size.
The audience size, correct. What else we got? Trackability, yeah, good one. What else we got? User-friendly, yeah. What else you got? Just keep going. There's loads and loads of reasons. None of them are wrong. They're all right. Everything you're saying is right, so I don't buy it, so it's all good fun. What else you got? We mentioned age demographic, didn't we? As in the younger people, because it owns Instagram. Instagram normally is about 25 upwards to about 45. I just about missed the Instagram generation, so I'm sort of getting back into it now. Facebook is sort of 45 right the way through to 90 plus or dead. I don't quite know how they track that one, but they do. So there's that sort of age. And like I say, if you're really marketing to 18-year-olds, then they're still sort of on Facebook. And the only reason they're on Facebook is because their parents are telling them, I want to see what you're up to, so be on my Facebook accounts. You must have a Facebook account as well. Like my daughter's 15, she's on TikTok and God knows what else, but she's got a Facebook account, and her mum has told her, post on Facebook what you're doing so I can see, because I haven't got a TikTok, not me, but she hasn't got a TikTok account or anything, or all the other ones that she's on. So Meta is really, really good, because like I say, all those are correct. And one of the biggest thing is that I mentioned earlier is infinitely scalable. There is no other platform out there. Google a little bit, but again, Google, when it comes to paying for advertising, it's done predominantly on keywords when you search in Google, or obviously they've got like the YouTube arm, which is obviously a thing. Now, the problem with YouTube is, and Google, it's very complex to work out. And they also, like I say, are a bit more sensitive as to what you can put and what you can't put. Before and after pictures, things like that, they're not big fans of, etc. Also, when you advertise, they also look at where you are sending the traffic. So in some cases, if you're sending the traffic, which most of you probably would do, to your main website, and Facebook or Google ban you, your website now will never appear again in any of those search engines because they've deemed you a risk, okay? And allegedly they do it to protect you. I love this whole thing now. We seem to do things in this country or in the world where we're doing things to protect you. It's like, I'm an adult. I can protect myself. Let me make the decision, you know? I officially, I think we're on camera here. You might have to block this out. But I've officially been banned from Facebook, Google, YouTube, because I always like to test the boundaries of what I can get away with. So therefore, then when we do it for clients, we know this is a safe space. We're okay here. Don't go this far. go here. That's as far as we can go to protect people's accounts. It's not guaranteed, but at least I know, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that, okay? But Meta is infinitely scalable because, like I say, you can say to Meta, go and show this ad to a target market of 25 to 40-year-olds. And they go, great, okay, we'll go and show it to the ad in a geographical region that you want, or a national country if you want, for a course or whatever. And their platform now is getting so advanced that if anyone tells you who is doing advertising, they spend so many hours working on the targeting of the ad, it's total bullshit. And I'm sorry for swearing. Basically, Facebook now is getting so clever at targeting, it's better than you telling it where to target. If you're starting a brand new account, you definitely want to give it some guidance. So imagine Facebook is a person in a forest. You need to tell it to go north, south, east or west. But once it starts going down that route, it will continue to go, you're good, you're not good, you're good, you're not good, you're good, you're not good. And what it's doing there is it's assembling all the data. You know, I mentioned earlier about when people go out to websites. It knows what type of things you do. It knows when you've opted in on a website over here that's nothing to do with Facebook, but it knows you opted in for a sunglasses ad or a teeth whitening ad that has nothing to do with Facebook. It's never advertised on Facebook, but because the client who owns that website has put a tracking code on Facebook because it's probably thinking about doing advertising or has got some other tracking on there, which a lot of these are all interlinked now, it knows that it bought teeth whitening over here, so now it can show you a teeth whitening ad. But because it knows all these data points about you, because you're visiting other websites, same with Google, but Facebook seem to amalgamate it so much better in their targeting, better than anything else. So if you spoke to me just over a year ago, I would have said, no, you've got to be really kind of giving them interest, giving them words to target, etc. So if I'm interested in teeth whitening, I'm interested in Ryland Clark. No, that's a bad example if you know who I am, but yeah, that guy with the big teeth. But it could be, you know, Colgate toothpaste. And therefore, I've got an affinity then that's saying to Facebook, if I've liked the Colgate toothpaste website or advert that I've seen, then there's a good chance I'm interested in dental health care and probably looking after my teeth getting whiter. So therefore, I could be interested in seeing ads about teeth whitening or dental whitening or, you know, whatever it may be. Which was okay, but obviously certain interest groups work better than others. Facebook seemed to pretty much have said, you can still do that, but just let us do it, because we know way, way better than you. Last count, they had 7,500 data points on every single person individually on this room. They know all your data. They know more about you than you. If you ever get a chance, I won't tell you how to do it, but it's quite an interesting thing. Go and have a look. There's a way you can Google it to say, tell me what Facebook see in my profile. And I did it for mine because I've got 20 years of history on Facebook. Oh my God, it's quite scary. They know me better than, certainly Lucy knows me, who you'll meet later, my wife. But also they know me better than I know myself. I'm like, really? Did I search for that? And they're like, yes, you did. And you searched for this and this and this and this. And you're like, that's really scary. But they keep that data forever, which is also quite scary. I won't go down that route, but it's very, very scary. They know what you did 10 years ago on Facebook. They know whose friends you clicked. They know where you went on holiday. If you logged in on Facebook, I was in Morocco only a few weeks ago, and suddenly now I'm seeing ads for Moroccan holidays because they know I've been there and I might want to go back again. The hotel that I stayed at must be okay at marketing because they're now showing ads for me to come back with a special discount. I'm like, that's good. That's clever use of Facebook. That's what we call remarketing, which you may have heard of. But keeping it really simple, the main name here is Facebook is really, really good. So if it doesn't work on Facebook, it won't work anywhere else, okay? Just because they have the best data set of anybody else I've ever seen, ever. They kind of rule that data world as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so the main thing is, if it's not about interest now and giving Facebook who we want to target, what do we think it's about to get people to take action on Facebook and click your button? The advert. Okay, what specifically about the advert? The messaging, yeah. What else do we think? The copy. The offer, spot on. They're all those are correct, but the offer now is key. It's not to say that there are probably 50 different metrics now that we could test to improve things, but if you're starting out and you want to get better results and start out, offer has got to be your main focus. If you're already advertising and getting returns like you guys are, testing different audiences, testing remarketing audiences, going scraping data from third-party websites and bringing that in and giving that back to Facebook, etc. Lots of different ways you can track things, different ways to send them down different funnels, all that kind of stuff. The offer, though, is still key. Even if you've got great results, if you tweak your offer, you'll get even better results, okay? I've been doing this for 20 years now, and I think we're now at this massive intersection. I say 20 years, probably about 24 years now, actually. We're at this intersection now where actually, if you want to be a very good advertiser, we're a profit agency, we partner with people to generate more profit. But most other people who do this type of work are marketing agencies. And really now, they're actually very lazy. I don't mean to be derogatory to all of them, but they just go, let's pretend we're doing lots of work here, doing targeting, all that kind of stuff. When in reality, Facebook is now doing all that work if they're advertising on Facebook. And they're not spending time doing this. They're just going very lazy. What do you sell? I sell Invisalign. Great. Invisalign open day. Right, let me just cut and paste that 20 times over for the other 50 clients I've got. And if we give it to Facebook, we know we generate leads at £100 a go or whatever. And you kind of go, well, I'm happy with that, but I want a bit more volume, and they can't make it work. Why? Because the offer is the problem. Okay. Also, who here struggles with... well, let me ask a different question first. Who here has put their price up in the last 90 days? Good. Well done. Whenever I ask that, most people are like, Who here did it, though, because it was more like a cost of living issue? You had to as a business because you had to pay more salary? Or was it a choice of, no, I'm putting it up because we haven't put our prices up in a while and I want to make more money? Good. Okay. You should all put your prices up to make more money. The costs of the business are the costs of the business, right? Cost of living, I'm not being horrible to anybody, but it's like it is what it is. We've all got it at different levels. The person who's got no money is being affected by it. The person who's got a lot of money is still being affected by it. It's less of an impact, but it's still being affected by it because we have to now look at mortgage rates in a different way. Whereas someone who's got no money, they have to look at, where my money is. Is it going on food or is it electric? And that's a whole horrible thing, which I'm not going to go down. But the key thing is who then also has people coming to them, shopping for them on price. All of you probably, I suspect. Now, the reason that is, it's that. Why? Because, and this is the key word that I use, and you might want to write it down. You are not, and it's quite a long one, so bear with me, decommoditizing, and I'll explain what that means in a second for those who don't know, decommoditizing your business. Once you do this, you will never have a problem with price ever again. Does it mean people won't sort of say, it's a bit expensive or whatever? But they won't be able to go, I can get that down the road. So why should I buy from you? Okay. So the best way to, and I love doing this because I'm going to apologise, but also it will benefit you. I'm just going to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? I am going to set up in business next door to you. I'm going to have exactly the same machinery. I'm going to find dentists with the same level of experience, same qualifications. I am going to charge exactly the same price point as you. I'm going to spout out all those lovely things about I genuinely care about you. I give extra care. No one goes above and beyond. I'll call you before, during and after. I'll give you a lollipop. I'll give you a sticker. I'll give you all the things at customer service that we do because we're brilliant at customer service and we really care. And I'm not saying you don't, but I'm going to do all that same stuff that you do. Now tell me, why should I buy from you versus me who set up next door with exactly the same offer?
Me.
You? Yeah, possibly. i.e. you're the person in the business, but how do I qualify that? I like you, but I also like the dentist next door. Before and after, you got this. Who's ever played Top Trumps, right? You got 16 before and afters. I'll raise you. I've got 17 before and afters. Yeah, I can play that game with you all day long as well. What else we got? Why else should I buy from you? Reputation. I've also been a Harley Street trained technician. I also have Mary, who's been to Uzbekistan and done some training on gold-planted surgeries. Keep coming. You know what I mean? I mean, we're sort of joking, but it is true, isn't it? Like, your competition are there, and they're saying the same things as you. So why would I buy from you? Sorry? Because they like you. Well, they like me too. Well, most people don't like me, but that's why I work from home and, keep myself in my little crazy office that I have. It's pain point. Yeah, you got the idea. It's pain point. It's offer. Why? Because here's the deal. It's a really corny sort of marketing term, but I think it sums it up. It's been around for years and I didn't come up with it. Write this down. Sell the sizzle, not the sausage. I wish there was I must come up with a better way of explaining this rather than that, but it does really kind of sum this up in a way. And this is the key thing, whether you're running Facebook ads and doing it great like you two guys are, or whether you're starting out. The biggest thing that makes an ad work, particularly on Facebook, is the offer, but it works across everything. So any marketing you do, once you understand this, this is the thing that unlocks the numbers that you've written down earlier at the start. Good so far, by the way. Are you okay? You're alive? Good. I appreciate you've had a morning of figures and facts, and Mahmood didn't really help me out by going, let me bore them with numbers and profits and return on investment numbers, and then you come along and talk about marketing. So yeah, sell the sizzle, not the sausage. What do we think that means? Because I'd rather you tell me and then I can kind of help guide you. What do we think? Just shout out. Sell the offer. Okay, what specifically am I selling about the offer? Okay, so I'll just repeat that because obviously I know we've got the mic going around. I should terrible with the mic, so I'll repeat it because otherwise the mic can go around. So kind of like buy now, why you should buy now, what sort of things you can offer in addition, what's the benefit of doing it now, etc. Yeah, but again, remember, play that still play that same game. I'm saying exactly the same thing to the person who's just been in with a consult for you, and now they're sitting in my chair. And I'm saying, well, you should really buy now because I'm going to give you 20% off, and I'm going to come around your house and brush your teeth in the morning for you, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Okay, but not far off. You good? Yep. We'll just go around as we go around the room here. That's the easiest way. So what we got?
It's not the product based. What that product means for that.
Yep. So it's not the product. It's what the product means to the person. Good. Yep. The transformation. Good. Excellent. Any solution for them? Yeah. Anything on this side?
So the way we run our video ads is exactly that starting with the pain point. So are you struggling? Do you hate the small?
Yep.
Etc. And then go into.
Great. So kind of like you're saying here that, yeah, are you struggling with this? Do you have that? Then we have this solution. Great. And that's probably why you're getting a good return, because it's starting that process of a good offer. We can definitely improve that. There's no doubt about that. But you're getting the idea is don't sell what you do, sell the thing that it solves. That's really the key thing that we're saying with that sizzle and sausage thing, but kind of a fun way of explaining it. And you probably now, every time you look at a sausage, you'll go, oh, yes, I remember that. But the key thing with that is everybody that is doing advertising, if you look at your competitors, they're all talking. I use Invisalign because it's quite an easy one to look at, and you always see, Invisalign open day, and it's like, well, yeah, everybody else is doing that. Why would I come to your open day when either A, I've been to one before and didn't buy, or I know what it is. Why do I need to come to an open day? I just want to buy the thing. Nothing frustrates me more, and we'll come on to friction in a minute, about having to, really want to buy something, like particularly with software now. It really aggravates me. I run 2 software companies that I own. Oh, I have to book in for a consultation, an online, walkthrough. I'm like, I just want to buy the bloody thing. Just let me buy it. And many, many times I've not bought stuff. Amazon are geniuses at making you buy stuff. Lucy will constantly have boxes arrive, like time and time again. We used to have a place. We used to live in Spain, and then we still have a place in the UK. And we used to come and go between two. And like in Amazon in Spain isn't that good, but over here, so we used to come back and like the boxes would be stacked up like this, ready to go back to Spain. You're like, Jesus Christ, because they made it so easy for us to buy. Okay, so offer is key. So let me give you kind of exactly what this looks like, so you can really get it. So this is exactly what you want to write down. So we've got what we call niche, and it's kind of like a little calculation. I'll walk you through each bit. Niche is we have to call out the market. Okay, and just to kind of feedback, you mentioned about do you suffer with this? If you now call out the market first in the ad and the video copy of who you want to target, that is going to make it even better. Okay, so those of you starting out, call out who you want. So let's randomly pick on someone. Lady here, right? So who are you trying to target? Who would you like to work with? Who's your ideal client? What's he or she? Anybody. See, can you see now? If I tell Facebook, show this ad to anybody in this geographical area, right? It's going to go, all right, I'll show it to anybody. If, however, you tell me, look, let's play a game. You can always go to the other one later. Man or woman, which one would you like to attract? Woman, you want to attract a woman. Good for you. Okay, roughly what sort of age? Between what and what? Okay, great. So 30 to 45 female. So now, if we just call that out as the niche, women, 30 to 45, okay? What that now means is both Facebook know, because because we're going to tell it that anyway. But also Facebook know the video. They read the video. They can understand what words are in the video. So not only are we calling it out in all the ad copy, but we're also calling it out in the video. Are you a woman? Between 30 and 45? If I'm looking at an ad, because Facebook don't always get it right, we've probably seen ads that we shouldn't see or think that aren't appropriate. But if I'm now looking at that ad, am I going to carry on if I'm not a woman between the ages of 30 and 45? I might be, but, only at weekends. But I'm not going to carry on listening or reading that ad, am I? Right? So what we're doing here is marketing is a disqualification process. We want to disqualify the people that we don't want to work with this offer, and qualify the people who do, because that gets us better quality people. I call it sitting in your chair, but it could be whatever the mechanism is you'll want to sell to them on, all right? So by calling out that is also going to mean we're going to get better results from our ads. So you're probably already doing it in the targeting, but do it in the video as well, okay? And I'll come on to what type of video and stuff like that in a second. So niche, okay. So then the next thing then is, what is now, we want to do niche plus result. Could be desired outcome, but let's call it result. So this lady, a woman, 30 to 45, what do they actually want to achieve at the end of whatever it is that you do? What are they looking to achieve? Whiter teeth, okay. That's probably not how you spell whiter teeth. I also got an F in English. Just to show you how unqualified I am, but I run multi-million-pound businesses, so I don't care. My teacher said I'll never amount to much, and it's very true. I still haven't. Right, so niche plus result. So again, women, 45, whiter teeth. So do you now think if I'm a female between that age, I've watched the first whatever that's taken, 1 second of the video, are you a woman between da-da-da? Yes, I am. Would you like whiter teeth? No, I wouldn't. Okay, I'm not going to now watch the rest of that ad. Okay, this is the way that we disqualify people away, because that then makes our ad spend go further. It means Facebook know that we're not then having the right people, we're getting the wrong type of people that we're showing it to. So it's going to improve what it wants to achieve. Okay, right, next one, result plus time frame. So what is the time frame that I can get whiter teeth in? How long does your entire process from start to finish take to get me whiter teeth?
6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks, okay. Okay, so I'll craft this as an ad, and you can tell me whether you would click it or not if you're the target market, but if you're not, pretend you're a woman today. Woman between the age of 35 to 40, would you like whiter teeth in 6 to 8 weeks? What do you think? Good? Yeah. I can see you're not excited by it, right? So, if it's a long time frame, which that is, because here's the deal, whether we like it or not, we are now in what I call the Netflix generation. I don't really watch in the way of all these series that Lucy will tell you later. She spends a lot of time. She enjoys that. It's her downtime. I don't watch them. But she'll spend blooming weeks watching all these God knows whatever episodes on Netflix where she binge watch, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, you come to bed? And she's like, no, I've got another 4 episodes to watch, because we want it now. We want it on demand. We want it here. We want it delivered tomorrow, etc. So therefore, us marketing 6 to 8 weeks, not very exciting, is it? It's not very wow, okay, well, why would I click that ad? Because it's a lot of investment for me, 6 to 8 weeks, isn't it? It's a long time. I want results now. And obviously, ethically, medically, morally, you can't promise them less than 6 to 8 weeks if that's what it takes to achieve what you need them to achieve. So how do I know this? Because, just an example for me, I was born with a hair lip, so my nose was over here. I had a cleft palate. So all my teeth basically were knackered. So I was under a specialist dentist for about the first 6 years who kind of did various things. Then I got a plate put in, then I had some plastic surgery. It's my claim to fame. I've had plastic surgery. Look at me. They didn't really do much to this, but there you go. But ultimately, what then happened was I got some teeth done, and then they got progressively worse. So during COVID, funny enough, I started treatment. So pretty much every single tooth in my mouth is a what's the technical term now? A post, whatever they call it, implant with a crown on top. Pretty much all of them. I think I've got 1 tooth left that's my original tooth that's hanging on in there. Now, the key thing is, if the dentist said to me, so, we know you got some problems, right? Because I used to eat and my teeth used to break and all sorts of stuff. If like, I knew I had a problem, right? I knew I had a problem. But if he sat down to me and said, right, so we're in a bit of a bad way here. It's going to take about 9 months. You're going to have about 6 to 8 injections every single time you come. We've got tons of work to do. It's going to cost you about £35,000. You're probably going to not want to eat shepherd's pie ever again, because once you come home from the dentist, that's all you're ever going to eat thereafter, because it's the only softest thing that you can kind of suck through. You'll probably at one time feel very hungry after the treatment, and you'll try and eat some chicken. And because your face is so numb, you'll be like spitting chicken out everywhere, which I remember doing. That was really quite funny. Driving home, I'm like, oh, bits of chicken everywhere. But there we go. I wouldn't have bought. I would have gone, no way. But obviously he was like, no, we've got to get started. And yeah, it's going to be a long time, but let's just take it step by step. So what I'm getting at here is, if we can't make this exciting, how can we change it to make it exciting? So it takes 6 to 8 weeks for the whole thing to happen. But how many visits do I have to come to you for in 6 to 8 weeks for that to happen? So how many times do I have to come and see you?
2 times.
2 times, okay. So 2 times during that 6 to 8 period. How long is the treatment time?
Half an hour to an hour.
Okay, so let's say 45 minutes as an average. So really, 1 hour 30. Women aged 35 to 40. Would you like whiter teeth in as little as, or in under, an hour and a half? I've called 2 hours. 2 hours treatment time. Better? More exciting? Would you more likely click it now? Yes or no? Yeah? Can you see the difference? How much more powerful that is? And most people, because you're in the market you're in, you can't offer this really particularly well. We tested it, like for implants, 120 days. 120 days, perfect smile program. It's like, no, it didn't land. As soon as we changed it to a treatment time, and there's many other ways we can do this that makes it even more exciting, but I just want to give you the basic one. This works really, really well. And the reason it works really well is it appeals to our kind of psychological need. And anyone that's doing marketing now really should be discovering behavioural economics and behavioural scientists. That's what I study now, because this is really what it's about. It's about what can we do to nudge people in the right direction to get them to achieve and do things that we want them to do. An amazing example of this, and there's obviously morally, ethically, and all the other things around it are wrong or bad or whatever, and whatever experience you had of it, but COVID and our good friend, the guy that buggered off to the castle, what was his name now? Dominic Cummings. That guy was a genius at understanding behavioural psychology. We've got to protect the NHS. Oh my God. So we've got this epidemic. So we're not trying to save lives. We're not going to come out and say we're going to save lives, because they knew they couldn't kind of do that. So they knew that they couldn't market that, but they could market save the NHS down there. And everyone would go, you're right, we've got to save the NHS. And because they know that we're so passionate about it in the UK, and rightly so, we've got to save the NHS. So we're all going to come together, we're all going to stay at home and save the NHS. Stop this thing. Now, whether that's right or wrong, whatever, very, very clever. And then they made it even easier to remember, because we all weren't going around, got to save the NHS, save the NHS. They did the, hands, face, space thing or whatever it was, and there's a couple of other ones as well. But these very simple psychological triggers. And that's what this is doing. It's unlocking, right, am I this person? Okay, yes, you're talking to me. That's a tick for me. Yes, I'm that person. Okay, do I want whiter teeth? Actually, yes, I do, and I've tried whitening toothpaste. I've tried this, I've tried that, and that's what we can get in the ad copy and the video and all that stuff. All the things they've tried that didn't work. I've tried the thing on QVC where you stick this bit of plastic in your mouth and stick some gel in and lay under a sun lamp for 4 days. And it worked a bit, but it didn't work very long, etc., etc. But the problem I've got is none of those really worked. And when they did work, they either didn't last very long, or they were lengthy, or they were painful, or whatever it may be. So if we can now add in the time frame, and we can then just pepper it with something that makes it even more, like what's the main psychological trigger that they can have? I call it time frame plus, like, it's kind of like a pain on top, for want of it. You don't have to, but if you really want to make it work even better, put in the words, if it is like tooth whitening, I'm assuming it's probably pain-free, is it? Because it's just like UV light or something like that. I don't quite know what you do, but I'm assuming it's not kind of like an injection which hurts. Do you know what I mean? So it's pain-free or painless, etc. Yeah.
So with the time frame, obviously with implants and Invisalign, it's a much longer course of treatment.
Yeah.
What do you find works best?
Yeah, great wording. So with like Invisalign, what we're seeing is right now, and again, this is really how comfortable you are, because there's a bit of a thing that we always have with people with who we market for Invisalign. A lot of dentists say to us, oh, we don't want to be seen as the clinic that just pushes people through as quickly as we can. We care about you, all that customer service stuff, which I don't doubt is true. But like at the marketing level, we just want them to click the bloody ad. That's the whole thing. You can get into that later. So if you can say in as little as, that's good, X amount of hours. So 6 hours treatment if they come for the initial consultation and then once a month thereafter. That's a really good way of marketing a lengthy treatment in a short time. And therefore, that's sort of saying, look, we can do it in as little as 6 hours. And remember, every advert you see for a competition now has what at the end of it? What do they say? Terms and conditions apply. You will be billed. Do not vote on demand. Right? Terms and conditions apply on everything, okay? So you can say, look, yeah, in as little as 6 hours. However, I'm now in the chair with you and you go, Mark, your face is a complete mess. Like, we've got to do all this other stuff. So, of course, you don't qualify for that guarantee. So you can switch out the guarantee at the point of sale to now say, you don't qualify for that guarantee. And they go, well, oh, okay, what do I qualify now? But in reality, they probably won't, because they'll be like, oh, actually, you're the first person that's actually told me this is what I need to do differently, and I respect that, so therefore I'm now listening to you because you're a doctor, dentist, etc. You know what I mean? So in as little as 6 hours, or in under 6 hours, if you're being brave, and you kind of go, yeah, okay, we do know some people will come and want to be 6 hours, okay? Fine, no problem. With dental implants, same thing. Add up the treatment time that they're in the chair. I know, like with me, I know that really well. Difficult to tell. But remember, what we're trying to do here, you've got to separate the two. This is marketing. This is getting people only to click an ad. That's all you're trying to do here right now. Everything else, by the time they kind of get over here, they'll forget. I don't know kind of how these guys kind of met you and worked with you, Mahmood, but I'm sure you probably don't remember all the terms and conditions that he told you as a result of signing up for his program. You're like, yeah, I just like the guy. He told me what I could achieve. He tapped into me and emotionally got where I want to get and looks after me and he's great. But I've not read the terms and conditions that said X, Y, Z on it, because at the time, all we want to do is just move them from the next thing to the next thing to the next thing, okay? And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But yeah, so in the marketing, it's about segregating what you can morally, ethically say, yes, we know we can do that, 6 hours treatment time. If the average dental implants, let's say, one tooth takes 90 days and 4 hours of treatment, well then say 4 hours of treatment. And you can lead with that. So then when I come in with 2 empty gaps, you can say, okay, so we can't do this in 4 hours because that's for one tooth, but we can guarantee that we can do it in 2 treatments or whatever. Okay, great, no problem. So look at the treatment time. That's the easiest way. But base it on your average, if that makes sense. And that's really the key thing. Does that make sense? Yeah. Good question. Okay. That makes sense for everybody else. So it's the time frame thing is key. Yeah.
So like for Invisalign, can take a few months. Months are made up of weeks. Like where's the line? Where's the line ethically? And is that something for you to decide as a clinician, I guess?
It's not, you can't promise, like never ever will I tell a client to promise something they can't deliver, because it will bankrupt your business, right? And I'll show you why in a minute. It will do when we put even more fuel on this fire. So it's about what is the best case that you know, that I come in and I've got one tooth that's slightly out and you go, right, stick these aligners in for 6 months, come once a month thereafter to put the new aligners in for a checkup. Each time that's 30 minutes. So 6 months of 30 minutes, that's 6 times 30, 3 hours, and there's an hour at the start. Okay, now we're at 4 hours. Okay, fine. That is the best case. So we're kind of like, what we're doing in the marketing is marketing to the prime of the prime of the prime customer. And some people will naturally fit that because they've got that one wonky tooth. Probably what will happen is most people will come in with more work than that needed. And again, this is why I said, don't lose sight of, if I'm a marketer trying to now sell you something different, you're like, yeah, you're one of those people, right? You're just trying to switch me out and change something you're offering. But you guys are dentists, doctors, etc. You're qualified. You're sitting there and you go, look, so you've got a longer period to do this. We've got more work to do. We've got this. And they go, okay. And like I say, typically we get the feedback that no one really, or probably 1 in 100 go, yeah, but I came here because of that ad that I clicked 3 weeks ago or a week ago. They just don't remember. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who remembers what ad or thing they saw on their Facebook feed or Instagram feed this morning? Who remembers what they saw on the Sunday Times website last Sunday? Who remembers the last advert they heard in the radio in the car or coming here? Who remembers the last advert they saw on TV? Well, you just don't, because we're in such a bombarded world of messaging. Why this is so important, that we have to stand out. So then when you're phoning up that lead or contacting them or whatever, you can go, hi, do you remember us? We're so-and-so dentists. We're the ones that offer this offer. And they go, yes, I know who you are. I remember clicking that ad now. Whereas you go, hi, I'm a dentist. I'm calling you about Invisalign. They go, what's that again? What's this Invisalign thing? Oh, the teeth straightening thing. Oh, I think I know what you mean now. And you have to kind of like resell them all over again. But if you've got a very specific offer, it works. So, for example, I'll give you a real life example of this. And I just so you know, I never ever do this on big screens like live to the internet, because I did that once and it's just horrendous because pages don't load and everything. So, like for our offer, what I do for my business is like we say to, depending on the market, but it could be, we will generate you X number of patients in X amount of time. And then we've got something else that I'll pepper it with in a minute. Okay. But the main thing is that we're calling out, are you this person? So are you a dentist who's struggling with patients? We guarantee 90 new patients sitting in your chair, paid in full in the next 90 days. Suddenly now you're like, okay, that's a really specific offer that stands out from every other offer out there, which is, hi, we do marketing. And it's the same for you and your business. The more you can understand this, who you're calling out, what they're trying to achieve, and in what time frame, that's really the key thing. Did that answer that question? So it's always look at like the best case, and then you can either change the guarantee depending on who's coming in, because you know ethically, morally, you can't do that. But like I say, they won't argue with you because they don't remember what the ad was anyway. So it's not being wrong. It's just saying, yeah, if you don't remember, that's fine, you know. Does that make sense? Yeah. Any other questions on that? Good. Okay, now comes the really interesting bit, because now what I'm going to do is probably what most of you do not do. Minus risk. So niche plus result plus time frame minus risk. Who here really genuinely cares about their patients, and whenever anything kind of goes wrong, you will do whatever it takes to put it right? All of you, right? You naturally do this. Who here actually then stands by that and actually tells everybody up front that you will do that before they even buy from you? A couple of you. Okay. We've got to remove the risk. Because again, if we just look at the psychology of this person, and this is on Facebook, you know, they're scrolling there, they're seeing all this other stuff, come across your video ad. Hi, are you a woman between the age of 30 and 45? Geographically, we told Facebook, only show it in this area. Would you like whiter teeth? Yes, I would. You know, have you tried XYZ before and it's not worked? Yes, I would. Would you like to have it in less than 2 hours of treatment time? Yes, I would. Pain-free? Yes, I would. And if we don't, we will do this. We will, on the most extreme case, if it works, and the quicker you can get to here, the better, we will refund you in full. And I look at the sheer panic in people's eyes when I say that. If you're good at what you do, now, again, for some of you, this is too far too soon. The best in the world offers always work. And I'll give you a great example of this. How many, anyone bought a new mattress recently? Random one, yeah? You bought a new mattress. Was it one of these online ones or was it in a store? You went in a store, okay. During COVID, I bought a new mattress. And you see these online all the time. And it's like, it started with, and again, this is where they're very clever because they know their numbers that we went back to earlier. Order any of the mattresses, Emma, Emu, all the weird names they call them now, you know, Emma, Emu, whatever. We put it in your house. We get it delivered. You sleep on it. It originally was for 30 days. And if you don't like it, we'll come and collect it for free and give you a full money back. Mattress sales just are exploded because of that whole combination of offer. That's what it was. I.e., do you want a new mattress? Yes, I do. Would you like a better quality sleep? Yes, I would. In 30 days, if so, we'll come and take it back for free and give you a full refund. Like, what's my risk? My risk is I get it in there. I get rid of my old mattress because no one's going to leave that sitting in the corner for 30 days. I mean, someone might do, but I'm going to leave my old mattress rotting away in the corner for 30 days while I'm sleeping on this brand new thing. And then at day 29 and 59 minutes and 59 hours, I'm going to go, do you know what? Nope, not comfortable with this. Let's send it back. I want a full refund. How many people do you think actually do that? Like, so small in comparison to the amount of more sales I make as a result. Why? Because we've eliminated, in that case, the risk. Because there's no risk to me. I try it. If I don't like it, I think now we're up to 100. I saw one mattress company the other day, 180 days. I get to sleep on this thing for 6 months. If you really want to be clever, just get yourself a new mattress every 6 months by basically going and sleeping on it and then phone them up 6 months later and say, can you come and collect it before the guarantee period, and then get another new one from a different company. That's how you get a new mattress every 6 months. Very, very easy, right? But for your clients, we've got to eliminate the risk, because they're like, yeah, I've heard this, I want to get whiter teeth. I want to get straighter teeth. I want to have this gap filled in my teeth or whatever. I believe, okay, you could do it in 2 hours or less. Yeah, but. What if? Our brain is just wired to go the next thing. What if it doesn't work? What if you're not a qualified dentist? What if it looks worse? What if people could see that I've had that treatment? What if it doesn't match the rest of my... All these questions are going on in their brain, and all we need to say is, look, don't worry. Put my arm around you, as you would do. Don't worry, we've got you. If we don't deliver on this, because we know this is the average, we will do this. At the most extreme end, we'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. Okay? If that's a bit... just again, show of hands. Who finds that too strong a promise? Okay? Keep working on it, because that's just that and numbers. Because if you look back at all the clients you've done, how many clients have you actually had to refund money on? Again, you just say, or we'll give you your money back in full, no questions asked.
You just say, if you're not happy with your treatment, or...
Yeah, you just literally say. It's like, so again, women aged 35 to 45, we'll do implants. Women 35 to 45, we will close the unsightly gaps and straighten your... that's a Invisalign one. We'll fill the unsightly gap in your tooth, as an example, in less than 6 hours of treatment time, or we'll give you your money back in full. It literally revolutionises kind of what you do. Because now, guess what? There's no risk for me, is there? Because my risk is, I'll give you money back. What we found when we tested it for our market, for dentists, doctors, aesthetics people, etc., was actually they didn't want their money back, because that was kind of like, do you know what? Like, I'm a busy business owner. I don't want to waste 90 or 120 days, depending on what we're doing, testing all this stuff and making it work with you, getting it working. And if it doesn't work, then you're just going to give my money back, because I've just wasted that time. And I value my time more than I value the money. So we actually now say, we'll just keep working with you for free. We won't charge you ongoing unless we've hit the target of 50 new clients in your chair, blah, 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 paid in full. Okay, fine, no problem. If we've let you down on our side of the deal, it's down to us to fix it, like you would do for a client. So test it, because some people will be like, that sounds too good to be true. If you're going to just give me all my money back, because no other dentist would ever give me all my money back. Well, yes, because they're too afraid, or they haven't looked at their mindset around, this is really scary, rightly so, because you've never done it before. But also they don't look at it from a numbers point of view. How many people have we actually got to the point where we have spent more than what we got from that client to put right all the problems we've created for that client? Probably 1 in 1,000. I'd argue. If we all have that pain in the arse client that no matter what you do, they're never happy. Okay, that's that one. Are you now going to attract 1,000 of those if you spend money on marketing with this type of offer? No, you're not. Because inherently people are good, honest, genuine people. Now, what you can have is terms and conditions apply as you go through this. And again, remember, if it is that, it is, 9 hours of treatment, or we'll give you whole money back. Well, there's got to be some terms on there. They've got to come in on a scheduled treatment plan for them to do that. And if they miss an appointment, guarantee's not valid anymore. You can be like that. Do you know what I mean? The same with courses online. You've got to complete the course, show us you've done all the work. If you show us you've done all the work and it hasn't worked, I'll give you 100% of your money back. That's like a really extreme. I'll tell you now, who here's running any digital online courses that you're selling? You must be doing 100% money back guarantee. Otherwise, you're missing out on probably 40 to 60% of your sales right now. Yeah, it won't do, because we think it will, right? But when you say the wrong type of patient, where is it the wrong type of patient? Tell me out of here, 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 or here.
One who's looking for treatment free of charge.
Yeah.
When it comes to expensive implant treatments.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is, like I say, you decide the terms and conditions for that. It will only attract, because here's the deal. It's like the person that I jokingly said about the mattress, because that's a great example. You're going to get maybe, like I say, 1 in 1,000, I mean, we've not actually tracked it, but we know that it's less than 1 in 1,000, so it's probably more likely 1 in about 3,000 from where we're at, that you're not going to attract someone who's like that. And if they are, you can reject them before you even sign them up. Do you know what I mean? So you can go, well, okay, so here's the deal. For us to do, again, why don't we just walk through it for you, just so we can get this clear in your mind. What is it, who you're targeting? Okay, full arch, okay. And then obviously they're solving the problem of painful teeth or whatever. How long treatment time, that's a good way to look at it, would they need to be with you for?
Yeah. So if you're doing it in a day, so like 6 hours, treatment a day, and bit loading, we're talking about 6 to 8 hours.
Okay. So let's always give you a bit more wiggle room. In under 9 hours, okay? So we'll do all that in under 9 hours. And if we don't, if you're not comfortable with the refund, which I would argue 90% of you in this room, if not 100% in this room, probably won't be, because it's quite an advanced, like, it is and it isn't, because like I say, if you know that you've never had to done this before anyway, then it's not a risk, really. It's a business thing. This is why it's like, it's psychological, but it's just a psychological thing for you. You're like, yeah, but, like you said, I'm just going to attract all these people that are going to want to fix my mouth for free, and then I'm going to have to give it all back to them, and I've done no money. Like that, genuinely, like I say, it's not enough to affect the business. Do you get what I mean? Whereas if you said for all of them, and yeah, it's going to bring in the wrong type of client. But like I say, when you're doing the consult, you'd be like 9 hours. They go, oh, I want it quicker than that. You're like, well, I'm sorry, you're not the ideal patient for us. Or, oh, I expect this, or I expect that. And like I say, typically, and again, you're doing a similar promise, aren't you, with the what you're offering now? People don't remember the ad when they come in and sit down with you, do they? They're in the moment of, tell me how to fix my wonky teeth, or tell me how to get rid of this gap here. They're not remembering the ad that got them in there. It's not to say we're trying to be clever and crafty, but if they do say, yeah, okay, I remember seeing on your ad that you said that you do it in under 9 hours. You're now telling me I need 18 hours of treatment. You're like, yeah, because I'm a medical professional. I cannot ethically say we can do your work in 9 hours. It's 18 hours for you, and I know in 18 hours, if you floss, you come back to me regularly, once a week or whatever the terms are that you need to them, if then we have not done that, then we will. And there's a couple of options. Let's talk about these risk statements. It's really, really key, because this is the thing that transforms business. So this is why most people, like you rightly say, it's very common. So it's a brilliant example of, yeah, but we'll just attract all the wrong people. So at the top end, you've got your full refund, okay? And it's almost like that's the ultimate, because we know, like we said with the mattress thing, it works so well, okay? We then down here just got let's call it a third party. What do I mean by that? You could offer a most simplest of guarantees is, we will do all that, blah, 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 and we guarantee that if one person doesn't notice your amazing new smile, in 90 days, we will give you, we'll continue to work with you for free. Now, it's like, okay, what's the chances of someone, family member, friend, whatever, saying, oh my God, like I had it. Oh my God, you got your teeth done. Done. Are they really going to go around and go, no one said that to me yet? Of course they're not, because what we've got to remember is it's all psychology. It's their brain is going, I look in the mirror, and like I did, I look at my mirror, and I'm like, I look so much better. I genuinely, oh, now mum, brother, kids, Lucy, etc., you look so much better. Let alone then that my teeth don't hurt. They don't fall out when I eat anything crunchy or sticky or whatever. I'm never going to go back to my dentist, even if it took 3 times as long to get a refund. So you can do what I call a third-party guarantee, unless someone tells you, like in the aesthetics industry, we sort of say, unless someone notices you, told you that they've had work done, we'll give you, we'll work with you for free or whatever it may be. So you can do that one. You can then do like here, there's probably only 3 or 4. You can do let's do this one. We'll do additional treatments. So in Invisalign, it's kind of, we'll work with you and we'll give you additional aligners for free until you're 100% happy with that smile. And again, as a business case, we know those numbers kind of stack up because you're like, okay, it's an extra whatever on the platinum plan or whatever they call it now, I lose track. It's kind of like, okay, great. We know that's our business risk is that. It's like 10% extra to fulfill. Guess what? You now go back to your spreadsheet of, your numbers. If I now, instead of saying £150 or £1,500 to manage that client and fulfill it, if I put an extra 500 that all of them require extra treatment and it's going to cost me an extra 500, what's my new number now? Oh, okay, my new number now is not £75 a lead, it's £50 a lead. So you're kind of always insuring yourself against that risk as well, okay? So always kind of add that up, as a worst case. So you can do additional treatments. We'll work with you and give you additional treatments until you are happy. The other one is you can do we'll work with you, continue for free. So it's kind of it's the same thing, but it's just kind of saying, yeah, we'll continue to work with you for free until you're happy. Now, does that mean you're now going to do it? Right, well, you've had the arch done. I now want teeth whitened. I want this done. I want that done. It's like, no. Like, we'll give you what we promise. And again, like, the more you can do a before and after picture, which is why you should, do it for business purposes, like in this. So, like, here's the mirror. Take a picture of you now. Okay, that's what you look like when you start. And then, like, 90 or whatever days later, after 6 hours of treatment, this is now what you look like. Smile. Oh, my God. Take a picture. So, are you happy? Yeah, of course I'm happy. Like, oh my God. So I'm never going to ask for a refund. In the rare ones that are, well, you would have corrected that before you've gone along, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Because I know when I had these done, like the scariest moment for me wasn't the drilling and the pains and root canals. I had a root canal without injections and all sorts of stuff. And I even had a bit of soft tissue thing removed as well. None of that was scary. The scariest bit was when he said, what colour do you want your teeth? And he said, we've got to get this right, because if not, we've got to go and remake them again, and that's going to cost a lot of money. I'm thinking, well, I'm a businessman. It's not going to cost me any more money because I ain't going to pay for it. You're going to have to foot the bill if we get it wrong, But it's kind of like, that was the scariest bit, because I'm like, I've got to make this really big decision. And he's like, well, you don't want to go too white, because that's like Essex. I live in Essex, you can probably tell by the accent a bit. And he's kind of like, you don't want to be like an Essexy person with these glowing white teeth. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I want to be a shade. And he's like, I think this shade. And it's like choosing paint. And and you're like, oh, should we go for that one or that one? And I'm just like, I trust you. Go with that one. And sure enough, when he did it, he's like, yeah, brilliant, perfect. But that was the scariest moment. So with all this stuff, all the things that you think are the problem aren't actually the problem. It's all the things that you're not thinking about are the problem, if that makes sense. So if you say to them, we'll work with you for free, all of these have terms and conditions around them. All of them. And it could be, what do you need for the perfect patient to behave in a way that it's almost like a two-sided deal. It's like a relationship. You do this, I'll do that. And as long as we both do those things, we'll do that. And if we don't, it's on me as the professional to put it right. That's really all we're saying there. And you putting it right could be, that's the thing that we need to see there. That's the thing that we'll do there. That's the thing we'll do there. Or at the very, very top, we'll just give you money back, so there's no risk at all. But like I say, sometimes that's almost a little bit too much for people, and they don't quite... Well, it's almost like, so this one actually, and that one, they work the best. Which you do anyway. Like, so, yeah, that's what I said to you. Like, how many clients... And again, if you're unsure, just look back at your client rosters. How many clients did you have to do additional treatments that you weren't expecting because you didn't do the thing that you need to do as you progress through the treatments? Probably, 1 in 500, maybe 1 in 100, I don't know. Obviously, you've got other people working for you, then you trust in them, so their numbers might be slightly different, but probably 1 in 1,000, maybe 1 in 500, I would say.
If you've got a patient coming in quoting your ad copy, I think for me it would be a little bit of a red flag anyway.
Well, yeah.
Asking, quoting,
yeah. Well, yeah, I've done this. I've done this with people before, and I'm like, we get so many people, obviously, because you guys, unfortunately, get so hammered by agencies who are just marketing agencies that don't understand the numbers and the business, and then, obviously, we haven't even spoke about sales, because that's more sort of Lucy, my wife's background. And it's kind of like they don't care about that stuff. They're just like, we just dumped you a load of leads. You got to call 5,000 leads, and as a result, none of them bought. They're all a waste of time. And they're like, well, it's not our fault. And I'm like, the problem is that there's no quantification behind it, but I now basically go to people who come along. If they're not a good fit for us, I will turn them away. Why will I turn them away? Because ethically, they don't fit who we are. Like, we're a certain company and we want to work with people that are long-term partners. I've got clients that are like now coming up to 9 years with us, which is unheard of in a marketing, back then agency kind of thing, but we're now a profit agency who do the whole lot. Why? Because we genuinely care. We're looking for partnerships. Like most of our clients, they come on holiday sometimes with us, which sounds a bit weird, but kind of we're at that level of relationship with some of our clients because we're integral to their business in growing it. And I think the key thing with it is if you only have a few leads coming in every month, if you've only got the phone ringing once a month, then you'll start grabbing at any lead because you're desperate. But when you've got 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 leads a month coming in, all that have been through that framework, the worst you're going to have, which we had one client say to me once, he said exactly that. He said the client came in and had saved our video on the iPhone and played it back and said, "This is what I want you to do." I said, "Did you take the client?" They went, "No." We could just tell they were going to be high maintenance from day one. We're not taking them. So I think long answer to a very short question there was it won't attract those people. If it does, they should be locked up anyway, but that's a whole nother story. Openly go, look, we're not a good fit here. I can see that your expectations and what we can deliver aren't aligned. So what I think for you is best is to go down the road to that dentist there. I'll put in the call to you now. I'll put in a referral. I think they're going to be a much better fit for you because they'll, promise you the world and deliver less. And then just let them go. And if you've then got a full calendar for the rest of the day of new patients coming in, you can do that. But when you've only got one patient on the day and you're all reliant to grow the business on that, that's why it becomes a problem. We get desperate. And again, like the property analogy, when I buy property, I always look at like hundreds of properties and I make offers on a small amount, and then I buy the ones that are left that I actually want to buy. Whereas most people look at one and go, yeah, I want to buy that. It annoyed Lucy when we looked at 16 different houses in one day in Marbella before we decided on the one we were going to buy. Go figure. But that's how I operate, I want the data. So that makes sense. The risk is the key thing. And particularly, like I say, online guys, you must do 100%. Do the training. If at the end of the course you haven't, whatever the thing is, we will give you 100% of your money back for free. Now, again, you could get them to, it's quite easy to do with a lot of the online platforms. They'd have to sign in and watched every module. You might have to get them to complete a little exam at the end of it to make sure that they've completed that. And then you have to have evidence that they've actually done it. I've run multiple coaching business before. And it could be, we need you to show us evidence that you've gone out and marketed or done the thing that you've said that you've instructed them to do, and prove that, and then you'll give them a refund back as well, the money, okay? Or you can just offer, we'll work with you for free. But definitely the 100% guarantee for money back on online courses. And again, your risk is virtually nothing because you've already done all the work, so there's no real risk to you because the cost of fulfillment is so small, okay? How are we doing? Is that a big oh my God? Yeah? Did that make sense? Are you all now looking at how you're positioning your offers differently? What time are we going to again? Just remember me. Okay. Shall we spend just 10 minutes going through a couple of your offers so we can create them with you? Would that help? Yeah? Would you like that? Yeah? Okay. So, let's do two quick fire ones because I think we can overthink these. So let's pick one from one side. I'm going to pick who wants to go this side. Raise your hand. If not, I'll pick on one of you. Let's go on the end. Who do you target?
So, target any male or female patient.
Okay. What age?
Which could be 18 to 90.
Okay. Can we narrow that down a little bit more? Because obviously it's quite a big, female generally.
So I was targeting patients who need implant treatment.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. So with that in mind, then, if we can't refine that and it's too broad, the next thing to do is look back at your clients and see what the average is. So the average is probably going to be, we know that there's less 18-year-olds or there's more 90-year-olds. Or on average we find 60-year-olds is where it's at because they've destroyed their teeth over the last 40 years. Now we need them to help.
So that's 32, I would say. My oldest patient was 89, so...
Okay. Let's do 30 to 65 as an example. You could put 65 plus, but okay. And then what's their their pain, if you like? What are they looking to achieve?
Like missing teeth, broken teeth.
Great.
Wanting to have fixed teeth, implants.
Okay. And then what is the come on, brain, catch up? The time frame that we spoke about.
So the single implants would be under 4 hours.
Okay.
Full arches, again, it's just like imitate load, could be at the 9 hours as we discussed.
Okay. So again, all we would do there is go look back at your average. If you're getting more 9 hours, and that's what you want because they're more profitable from a business point of view, then you're matching that with that. If it's 4 hours, then you just match that with that. Okay. And now this is the interesting bit for you. What then is your risk? Sorry.
I am getting closer.
Okay.
So I'm not actually in favour of a refund.
No, that's fine. That I just want to show you the extreme
Yes.
of where you can go.
So let's say that continue to work with you till you are satisfied,
Okay.
or any other way would you like to frame that?
Okay. I always like words like 100% happy or 100% delighted. Just because you know that when you do that bit with the mirror or whatever, and they first see the work you've done, and that's how they're going to look, the smile on their face, that's then when you want to capture the picture. Yeah, it's almost like big reveal. It's like that Holmes program they used to have in America where they pull back the thing. Well, it's kind of like, move that bus or whatever it was. What was that called? Extreme Makeover or whatever it was, And it's kind of like, that's the thing. They're surprised on there. So 100% delighted with your new smile or whatever. That's a brilliant offer. Really, really good offer. Okay, nice and quick. Do one on this side. Who wants to go?
Well, I'll do it for bringing in new delegates into the program.
Okay.
So I would target young dentists
Okay.
or dentists who want to increase their income.
Okay. Yep. Great. Okay. And what's their biggest pain? You said about income. And what specifically, the more we can be specific in here about the income, the better.
So because I teach them how to place implants. So
Okay, so what are they looking for? Are they looking for an extra 5,000 a month, 10,000 a month, 12,000 a month?
I think that realistically we could double their income easily.
Okay. So I think always when we like, our brain doesn't work quite quickly as we'd like always, particularly when we're reading ads. So if you can say, right, I've looked at this and most people want to go from 10,000 to 20,000, don't say double because people can't figure that out. I know they can, but it's like double. So I'm making 10. Oh, you lost me. So always talk to people like they're 5 years old and say, want to make an extra 10k a month, let's say. If they're at 10 at the moment, and they want to double to 20, an extra 10k a month. Okay? And you might want to put, established maybe, if that's something in there, if you want to track that they're already making money, so we're qualifying or negative qualifying people to come through. In the time frame?
Yeah, it takes a year.
Okay. So is there, how many hours of training is there? A lot. Okay?
Yeah, there's no way. But then I suppose in dentistry it's slightly different. So if I was told I was going to earn an extra 10k by next year, I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's not too long.
I test it, and I'd always do, 52 weeks rather than a year because it sounds less. But I do think you could probably look. I had this with an aesthetics training company. What did we do for them? We did. Yeah, we looked at it because that was the same thing. It was like whatever it is, it's all different. Every industry has a different one. MVQ level 7, it was like 150 hours. So we basically worked it out. We said, right, if they only did that and didn't do anything else, they just literally took time off to solely go and do that, how long can they complete it in? And we worked it out that it was 7.4 days. So we said in under 10 days.
Well, yeah, and how long does it take for them to get to a live day where they actually...
They do that on day 2.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about earnings, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what you're, unless you
So
change
then
your...
actually
Yeah, but
that
they could increase their earnings from that day.
No, you can't go and place it in their own practice and do it.
Because they're not bringing it to you.
They're not going to be earning money from it
Yeah.
at that point.
I would do this because again, like,
I wonder whether then you target it differently that you're placing when you place your first implant, because that's, I suppose, a big difference.
Well, I guess when the moment they place that first implant, if they've got an practice, you go rental them and earn money.
You could do it, but
Yeah.
they won't, because they'll refer them to the course.
yeah. Do you know what I mean? See, this is where, like, now in ad copy, you've lost me, you lost me. No, but I'm saying as a person, it's good to discuss that, the inner workings of it. But all we got to do is promise the best of the best that we can offer and know that we can fulfill in that time frame. And then, that's then when you can go, actually, do you know what? When you got them on the phone or whatever, the Zoom consult or whatever, you can say, do you know what? We've actually got a way to shortcut that further. In 2 hours, we can get you blah, blah, blah. You have to do it under this and you pay us 50% or whatever. But, if 52 weeks sounds too long, which I think probably is a bit, maybe, test it. 150 hours is better. But when we combine 150 hours into 24-hour days...
They do 10 practical days, so we could see.
Yeah, in 10 days or less, or in as little as 10 days. Suddenly now you got me. And then what's your guarantee? What are you prepared to do? If I do all the work in that time frame, I'd be a good boy, I do everything you tell me. What are you going to do if I don't then achieve the pass, is it? Okay, great. So good one for training courses, and we did this one. It works really well. There's driving schools that say, come in 7 days, and then if you don't basically pass, we'll retrain you on that subject you failed on for free until you pass. So therefore, all you're doing is doubling down on that one they failed on. You retest them. If they now fail on another one, you now retrain them on that one until such point they do it. So retest, I call that. Okay. Good. Okay, happy with that? Good.
Do you have to have a number in the time frame?
Yeah, definitely.
You can't just say within a few sessions.
No. Because again, it's like customer service. I don't know whether that's good, bad, or indifferent. I could go to a restaurant, a Gordon Ramsay restaurant, and think it's amazing and tell you to go there because the waiter stands there like that. And as soon as I move my glass, he fills it up with water. And you love that. You think it's brilliant. Whereas I go there and I go, this bloke's really bloody annoying. Wouldn't he bugger off because I want to talk to my wife about X, Y, Z? So that's the problem with it. It's subjective. The more we pin it down, like I say, it sounds really horrible, but you've got to talk to people in your ad and in your sales as well. Use their language, which is, you guys are brilliant because you're in front of people all day long. Write notes about what they're saying. Use their words. So if they're using I'm in agony, use agony rather than pain. If they're in a few sessions, well, but in 4 hours, tell me it's 4 hours. And like I say, maybe more than that for the individual case, but at least I know that's my expectation coming to you saying, great, you look like you could do this. And you go, I can, but for you, it's going to be a little bit different. They won't be unhappy with that. Okay? Good. Right, I want to push on because I've got a couple other golden rules really I want to share with you. Golden rule is, for those of you who are doing ads at the moment, where are you sending the traffic? I.e., when you click the ad, where does it go to? To a CRM system. So it's a standalone page, is it, that only offers that one thing? To a landing page. Good. Same for you as well, I assume, probably if you're getting those sorts of returns. So what we mean by that is, just for those of you, if you'd excuse me to bring them all up to date on this. So basically, when they have the ad inside of Facebook, and I'll come on to the best structure on that in a second, what you do not do is send them to your website. The reason we don't send them to a website is as soon as I go there and I now see all the other treatments, I see lovely pictures of you in your gowns or your lovely office or your dental chair and your latest equipment, you've lost me because I forgot the power of that offer that you were putting in front of me. So what we want to do is drive them to what is known as a landing page. I'll come on to that because there's a very specific way you can do it to get even better results than what you're getting now if you're not doing it. So you want to drive into a landing page, and that we'll talk about lead forms in a second up here. So you want to drive into a page, and that page basically is very simple. Excuse the terrible drawings. Okay, so on that page, very simply, we tested this, and right now, as we stand here today, it could change. About 2 months ago, we switched over to this because we saw better results. Well, actually, we've got your logo, email, telephone number. Okay. Bizarrely, don't make the email a clickable link. So I click it and it then opens up my Gmail. Just literally have it on the page. Your telephone number, again, that I can't go and dial. Picture your little logo at the top. And when I mean at the top, like if this is the whole page and we're dividing it up into thirds, your logo takes like an eighth of it. A very small amount. Don't have a big logo, okay? Because most of this stuff's being viewed on mobile. And then what we want to do is get what we call above the fold. So in newspaper terms, it used to be when you had a news rack years ago out on the street, they used to have what they call above the fold. So they'd fold the newspaper in half and then you'd have the headline. If it was below the fold, we didn't see it. So it's the same in marketing, on the internet. You want to have above the fold. So when the page loads, I see your tiny little logo, email, telephone number, and then your lovely video there, okay? And then below that, I have a button. That's it. Obviously, you've got to legally have the address and all that sort of stuff on there at the bottom, just terms, conditions, your links, all that privacy policy stuff. But as far as that, nothing else. Sounds random. You think you'd put lots of stuff in there. You don't. We used to do it, we had loads of copy, before and afters, all that kind of stuff. People won't read it. We tested this, we've got video tracking software, we track everything that every visitor does on every page, and we found that this video, we call it a VSL, video sales letter, is the best way to do it. And basically all we're doing is reiterating the promise that we've already spoke about.
Same video that, you know, the nation.
A little bit longer, yeah. So I'll come on to kind of this bit, because this bit's a little bit more detailed. But basically, I click an ad. We'll come back to that in a second. I then come to this page, and basically on there, there's me or whoever. Actually, we're using a lot of AI stuff at the moment, which is really, really good. And you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I can even duplicate you, Mahmood. That could be good, couldn't we? Imagine another Mahmood. It's quite funny. Hi, I'm Mahmood. And you can have them on both screens like all at once. That'd be scary, wouldn't it? So basically, you're like there. You're basically reiterating the offer. You're right. It's a longer version of the ad. You're also then going to show before and after pictures in that ad, and then you're going to call out what you want them to do. Which, guess what? Click the button below to book your consult. Okay. I then basically go to another page once I've clicked that button, and again, same setup. Your logo very, very tiny, and then on here is your calendar to book a consult. And then once I've done that, I then go to a nice thank you page, and that has lots of gubbins on there, because believe it or not, we've still got to sell as hard on this thank you page to now get them to show up for the consult. So on that thank you page, there's a video of you going, hi, or whoever, a spokesperson for your business. Hi, you booked in, it's great, blah, blah, blah. What you'd normally say to someone if you were phoning them up. And also, you then put lots of before and afters, success story videos on that page, etc. That will increase your show-up rate. So if you've got a problem with people not showing up for consults, it's because of this part after they booked, not this part. So many people try and redo this thinking it's solving this problem. If you're not getting people show up for consults, that's your problem. It's after they've signed up, they put their details in, you need to communicate with them. I'll come on to that in a second, what you need to do there. Okay? Definitely not. We tested it, it does not work. Why? Because again, it's like, imagine this, I don't know who you are. I've never come across you before. I've clicked an ad, I've booked a date and time, and suddenly now you're hitting me up. Give me your credit card details. Do you think that is like bordering on scammy, that you could be just trying to fish to get my credit card details? Possibly. I don't know who you are. So always reduce the risk and the friction. Don't take credit cards. Like, there's no reason why you should not get at least an 80% show rate for your free consult. If you are not, it's to do with a couple of things that I'll come on to in a second, because that's well, let's do it now. So the first thing you need to do, the biggest constraint, as we call it in our business, that I see with any person or any business that we work with, it's not all this stuff. Once we've got the offer nailed and stuff like that, we continue to test loads of variables. It's how you guys deal with the lead. What should happen is, as soon as they booked here, within 5 minutes, which is scary as hell now, within 5 minutes, ideally, to get the best result from every lead you get, you should be calling them up, saying, hi, Mark here from blah, blah, blah. You've just booked a consultation next Tuesday at 10. Don't do more than about 4 days out on your calendar, because they won't show up. 4 to 6 days maximum on here. You booked on Tuesday for a free consult for the blah, blah, blah. Quote the offer, what you're doing. Just confirming that you have the date and time in your diary, that you are going to show up, and that there's no issue. Any other questions? No, that's all good. If you do that within 5 minutes of them actually clicking that button and booking that consultation with you, I just need to get the actual number because I don't write it down here. 97.8% more likely, according to a direct marketing study, when they tested this, versus calling after 5 minutes. So you're losing so much more leads if you don't call them straight away. I know what most people are going to say, like now, someone books in, how can I call them? You either need a team member to do that, a receptionist, if they're sitting there doing not a lot all day, which sometimes they do. I'm not saying they don't, but sometimes they do. They can do that during office hours. We've tested this now with a couple of clients. We're actually doing AI, where AI is voice calling them and acting as somebody, and it's getting brilliant results. So that's using really technology, but we're there, and it's working very, very well. But even if you can't, you definitely want to be calling them. Now, here's the deal. Most people call them Ring, 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 ring. Oh, no answer. I'm just going to swear. Apologies. Shit lead. No good. Cancel the whole lot. Stop Facebook advertising. It's not working. I've done this 10 times. I've made 10 calls to 10 different leads. One person each. Doesn't work. Wrong. You might be, funny enough, busy. You might be in an event like this and someone's calling you. You might be driving. You might be whatever. Who knows what's going on? Does not mean I'm not a qualified lead. All leads are qualified if they've gone through all this process, okay? People value their time more than anything else. They are willing to give up a date and time to a dental practice or a denture practice or anything to do with what they're doing, online course, etc. They are valuing their time. That is why we don't need to charge them money. If we communicate with them really well after they booked in by calling them ideally within 5 minutes, but as soon as you possibly can, and if here's a shocker, if you ring them and they don't answer, doesn't mean they're not interested. What we tell people to do is you call 3 times from a mobile number. So ring, 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 it rings out. No answer. Immediately, ring, 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 no answer. It dials out. Same again. Ring, 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 no answer. 2 things will happen. If you do that, instead of just ringing once, you will get loads more people do one of 2 things. They will either call you back because a mobile number has called them. If you've got a mobile number call you right now 3 times, who here's got kids? Yeah? If an unknown mobile number called you right now 3 times in succession and then did it an hour later, are you likely to ring that number back and go, something up? Because you don't know. It could be your kid's in trouble and someone's phoning them. It could be, God forbid, a horrible thing to say. It could be the hospital call. It could be whatever. It could be as simple as the Amazon driver trying to find your delivery address. It could be something as a family member that you've changed mobile. You just don't know. But the fact that you've rang 3 times and it's rung out as a missed call, you're probably going to ring it back, or I tend to text back or whatever. You can, on the 3rd part of that, i.e. the last one, do a voice note, a voice memo, like, hi, just calling you, blah, blah, blah. I will call you back. That's the key word. I will call you back tomorrow at 12. So therefore, you're now saying to them, if you don't want me to call you back, you've got to call me back to tell me not to call you back. Does that make sense? So tell me when I'm going to call you back. So I'm going to call you back. You know, if it's your receptionist, hi, it's Mark here from ABC Dental or whatever. You booked in a so-and-so appointment, blah, 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 blah. I've not been able to get hold of you. I've tried you a few times on this number. I'm going to call you back tomorrow at 12 on this number because I want to make sure that you've got everything you need to attend the free consultation on Tuesday that you booked in. Okay, so we do that. And then, like I say, I also then, no more than 12 hours later, do exactly the same thing if I haven't got hold of them. Okay? And in addition, and people go, this is hounding them, this is wrong. No. People appreciate this, believe it or not. If you've got a CRM system, which most of you probably have, some of you guys that are doing this, you can also then automatically send some emails and also some SMSs as well. WhatsApp is the best, to be fair. If you're going to use WhatsApp, just be a little bit aware. If you use it too much, you might get banned from a WhatsApp point of view from that number. If you're using it too much from a business purpose, they do have WhatsApp for business. That's a whole nother. Spend a day on that. But have a look at that. But WhatsApp is really good. So I would do calls and WhatsApp first. That's the magic kind of combo to get hold of people nowadays. Okay. But you must do that. It's not a lead problem. It's not a Facebook problem. It's a system problem. You're not following up the lead well enough. And like I say, this will get easier in time with AI from there. What we're doing. Yeah. Yeah. We typically find, depending on the age bracket, I'm sorry for my writing all on different angles, 6 to 8 p.m. is the best time. That's the best time to get hold of people.
So we open, we do one late night, so we'll do a lot of it on that day. What we've just started doing is team members are happy, they take them we get it out of our inquiries, and if they make a booking, I just pay them a one-off support.
Yeah. I mean, a really easy one as well. Peopleperhour.com, peopleperhour.com, you may know it, you may have used it, I don't know. You'll be able to find people on there in the UK, more so now than ever, for about £12 an hour that are virtual assistants who will quite happily, you say, I want you to call X numbers as they come into a spreadsheet or however you're doing it. I want you to call them between 6 and 8. And I want you to call every lead. I want you to call them 3 times. Then I want you to send a WhatsApp message, an SMS, and a voice note. I want you to then do that the following day if they haven't responded. Here is the script that I'm going to give you to say. Here is the questions you need to ask to qualify that they're definitely going to turn up for their consultation. Done. And you get them to track it on the spreadsheet. That's like a manual kind of way of doing it, but it's a good way to get started. And the nice bit is you don't have to employ them or anything like that. You just pay them, £10 an hour. So you could probably get 20, 30 calls done in an hour quite easily of that very quickly. So, you're paying £10. If it's 7 days a week, it's £70. That's, 490, say £500 a month. But now you've got someone following up every lead. And what you'll probably find, most of these leads do come in around this sort of time as well. So therefore you're hitting them a lot quicker rather than, coming in. We get random times. We find like 1 o'clock in the morning for some unknown reason as well. We get a lot of, I think, particularly sort of you guys who we work with, I think you're, just are relaxing. Oh no, I'm still in business mode because we can't help it. We're all impatient entrepreneurs. We want more. So we find that works well for us as well. Okay. Basically that bit, to be fair, that should happen for every lead in your business, referred, non-referred, Google Ads, newspaper, Toy Fair, Village Fate, wherever you're collecting name, email, telephone number, that process works in getting hold of them. Okay. Good. Let me quickly then, because I've got 10, 15 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so depending on what you do, there's obviously, again, technology is moving at such a pace. If we'll talk about kind of what you might use here. If you've already got something like this, there's loads of different softwares out there that can be like a marketing software. So your practice management software probably doesn't have something like that. So you really want to look at various things. You could do something like Lead Pages. That's a real basic one just for capturing it. But then you kind of need like a Calendly or something like that. And then that, depending on your software, could talk to that using something like Zapier, where it kind of takes that data and feeds it from Calendly to there. If not, we've got our own version, but essentially we've got one that does kind of everything bar the practice management bit that can talk to most practice managements. But the main thing is it does, it does that. But again, keep this stuff simple. I'd rather you do it badly, if that makes sense, and it's not all clever, all singing and dancing. If it's just, this data from here, if it is to say a calendar or a Google Calendar link or whatever, just put it on a spreadsheet and you have to manually bloody do it at the end of every day. It's not difficult. As long as someone's calling it, that's all that matters. Because then they can compile, whoever's doing this here, can then, put it back manually into your software and just test it. And then, then you can pay a coder to write something that communicates between all of it. Or something like Zapier, to be fair, is very, very good now in communicating with pretty much everything. So that can kind of pass data around all day long. All right, but word of warning on that, just don't have a go at it yourself, because I've got so many hours I've lost to Zapier trying to figure things out. Okay. Yeah, sure, no problem. Yes, I'm going to talk about that now. So let's then just go back up. Does that all make sense? That's really, really important. Like I say, whether kind of you're working with anybody that's doing your marketing, I would argue that, and I would probably say this, you'd say that, but in my experience, and I must have generated millions of leads now in the 20 odd years I've been doing this, it's not a lead issue. The issue is the offer, which is not good. That's why it's not working at the right price for you as a marketing, because all marketing works at a price. Or it's actually this follow-up bit. And it's a pain in the arse to do. But if you really want to grow your business, because once you've got this systematized, as in someone does this an hour a day, every day or whatever, the investment is tenfold. Because guess what? All you do is just put that cost there in paying someone £500 a month off people per hour to do that into your fulfillment cost at the beginning when you're working out your numbers. So now for an Invisalign $3,000 treatment, it's $1,500 plus $500 to follow up these leads. Great. Okay, now you adjust the number. We now know the new number is, I've got to get calls at £50 a lead. Okay, great, no problem. Now I'm getting bookings at £50 a lead. That's just a new number. Off you go from there, okay? Right, let's then just talk about, for 10 minutes or so, about Facebook and what's working right now, about lead forms and that kind of stuff. So I get asked this all the time. So how do you structure inside of Facebook a good campaign that works? What's working right now is for smaller budgets, so we'll talk about what a budget could be in a minute, 1-1-3 setup. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, one campaign, and a campaign basically is where you're telling Facebook, It's actually less now than ever, but just kind of who you want to kind of target, well, not even targeting, what the goal is, if that makes sense. So this is obviously like appointments, let's call it that. You then want what we call one ad set. And an ad set really is then when you're saying how much you want to spend, who you want to target, and then kind of what dates and times you want to run it, that kind of stuff. But really it's how much you want to spend and who I want to target. And like I say, if you're starting a brand new account, you've never done advertising before on Facebook, just give it some really highly targeted interests, like 2. That's all you need. So, if it's teeth whitening, go into Facebook and type in teeth whitening and just see what comes up. It will give you suggestions. But don't select hundreds, just select 2. And they've got to be the most ultra-targeted keywords you can find. So in the ideal world, if you could target, like say I want to target Invisalign dentists that want to sell Invisalign, I type Invisalign in there, but chances are it probably won't come up in Facebook for various reasons I won't go into now. So I then go, right, okay, what's the next thing? Oh, okay, well, it'll be dentists. Who's the occupation of land dentist? Okay, that don't come up. Okay, Facebook is suggesting small business owners. Okay, well, that's better because it's kind of, at least I'm going to target that. Right, now let me think of what else I could put in there that means I would target dentists. Okay, I've typed in dentist, something like that has come up, dental aligners or dental practice or dental therapy or whatever. You're looking for something that's as close as Facebook can offer for who you're trying to target. So for your type of target, it's like, women who are, whatever it was, 30 to 45, whatever, teeth whitening, I would be putting in, obviously females, teeth whitening, and then I'd be putting in like, if I would suspect, because it won't be available, but something like a brand would work well for that. So Colgate, Sensodyne or whatever, they probably got a fan page on there that Facebook could go, yeah, we will target people who are in Sensodyne because we know they're sensitive teeth or whatever, and more likely to want to start to see an ad for teeth whitening. So 1 to 2 interest in that, and that's really it. And then 3, sorry, I keep doing that, so it's just a habit. 113. That basically is 3 times video ads. Now, I'm not saying image ads don't work, but they don't work as well as they used to. Okay, video ads work really, really well. Why 3? What we want to test here is 3 different, we call it hooks or angles. Okay, and the name of the game really is, if you can imagine why we say Facebook is infinitely scalable, is if I've got one video that I know works at the right price to get people booking consultations at that price. So let's say that number we worked out, we're willing to pay X amount to get a client, and we worked out it's £50 to get a booking. Okay, great. I'm willing to pay Facebook up to £50 to get a booking. If we only test one, that one might be £100. You're like, well, that didn't work. Give up on Facebook. What's the point? However, video ad number 2, which says something just slightly different, could be £70. Video ad 3 could be £65. And that could be for a number of factors. Obviously, the main factor is Facebook are obviously showing it to who you've told them up here. But the main thing is these things are saying slightly different things. And all you're going to do, and a video ad now typically is about 1.5 minutes long, and it will be what your offer is. Females between the ages, and again, if this was me, I'd hold a camera up. Females between the ages of 45 and 55, we guarantee to whiten your teeth in less than 3 hours of treatment. Otherwise, we'll give you your money back for free. Bad example, I've just done that on the fly. That's the offer, okay? Great. Now, that's video ad 1. That's cost me £100 to get a booking. Video ad 2. Are you a female between the ages of 35 and 45 who look in the mirror and hate your yellow stained teeth? Then we guarantee to fix it in under 4 hours of treatment, or we'll give you your money back for free. We'll just give you your money back in full. That one's got me £70. Video ad number 3. What else do we do? Have you tried teeth whitening toothpaste at home treatments? And again, you call out women, sorry, first. Women, 35 to 55. Have you tried at home treatments, blah, 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 toothpaste, and they've not worked? We guarantee to whiten your teeth in under 4 hours of treatments. If not, we'll give you 100% money back. No questions asked. There are 3 different hooks, as we call it, okay? And each of those hooks is going to perform differently as we're calling out the market with the offer we've got, but saying something slightly different. And what we're looking for ultimately to have an infinitely scalable campaign that we can spend anywhere from £30 a day to, depending on the market, but if we're looking at your demographic and geographical reach for most people, you could probably get up to around about £2,500 per day for one campaign. And what we're looking for in that campaign is 6, ideally, hooks, 6 videos that have been proven to be below our target. That now means I can scale that campaign from £30 all the way up to £2,500, roughly. It could be a lot more than that. But the other good thing is, I don't really need to touch that hardly at all once you get to that point. Giving away a bit of a secret, but yeah, there's a lot less maintenance, let's put it that way. As an agency, once we're working with people at this level, we're actually then working on another offer here because it's working so well. Do you know what I mean? But these you shouldn't have to touch really. You can let these run. There's your vet, I don't even know this, but the high ticket business that we marketed, we had one video that worked, and we ran that video for 3.5 years. It never got tired. We spent £3.5 million on that one video, and it built a business that done £7.5 million in turnover and £3.5 million in profit in 1 year. And it was one video. We got lucky. If we had done what we've done here, we would have kept that, we would have grown that business 10 times quicker because we just got lazy. Okay? But what you want to get to is ultimately having around 4 to 6 of those, because then we've got the insurance. We've de-risked it at Facebook, because Facebook go, well, okay, this one worked well one day, that one didn't. That one worked well one day, that one didn't. And it's always adjusting the whole time, trying to find new people to show the ad to make sure they hit, in this case, say your £50 target cost for a booking. So the ads are quite simple to do, because like I say, they're not long at all. They're the hook first, and then you basically tell them who you are and what you do. We're so-and-so dentist. We specialise in helping women whiten their teeth in using an ultra laser leveler, whatever. We do this in our clinic in London. And if you want to see kind of what it looks like, here's some before and after pictures, which would show on the video. So if that's something you want to do, we guarantee that result, blah, blah, blah. Click the button below to book your consultation. And that's it. That's the video ad. And all we're doing is just swapping out that first 15 seconds, which is the hook, and testing those. And once you've tested, roughly speaking, obviously we're at an advantage in that we know what works across all the industries that you guys are in. So someone says, do you do Invisalign? I know the hooks that work because we've tested them with 10 other clients, and all we've got to do is just refine it and make it yours and make it better. But ultimately, we know that. For you as a business, you're probably going to have to test 10 to 20 before you find 2 or 3 that really work. So again, like marketing is actually more of a failing process than a winning process, which really annoys me because I used to be a 100-metre sprinter years ago when I left school professionally, and not winning is not in my bones. So actually having things fail is really hard for me to adjust. But I know that probably 80% of these won't work to find the winner. But when I find the winner, that's now in that campaign, and that sits there just generating new leads at £40 or £50 less. Some days it could be as little as £10. Other days it could be 55. When we look at the average for the month or the week, suddenly now it's below the target that we set. Okay, and then again, when you test another 10 to 20, right, now you go from there, then you go from there, and suddenly now you've got these 6. That's like having a commercial tenant in your rental property that's signed a 25-year lease. They're not going anywhere. You are laughing with Facebook, and you know that every time you spend X, you double it cash return that month and potentially go 6, 10 or 12 times return over the lifetime of the client. As far as kind of the setup, that's kind of setup. Now, what you can do and what we find a lot of things work at, and this is where the ad itself, this ad is a video ad, but what we do is we have the video ad on Facebook. We then have 5 headlines. I'm just going to, do this. I hate 5 headlines, 5 ad copies, which is the actual text. And that's what we're going to test. Okay, so each video, you're not just testing the video, you're now testing 5 different headlines, like the hooks, but in text form, and 5 different ad copies. So kind of like you've got 3 times 5 times 5 that Facebook's also testing for you the whole time as well. So it really speeds up testing. That's why anyone that says, we do so much testing, You don't really. You just give Facebook this and it tests 35 variables of that same ad for you. So if any agency says, oh, we're doing loads of testing, if all they're doing is that, they're not actually doing much. They should be testing offers and coming up with the ideas and the creatives. So that's kind of what you test there. And then what's the mechanism in getting them from Facebook to your landing page? Lead forms. Who here has heard of lead forms? I know you mentioned it earlier, a couple of you. Generally, how have you found lead form traffic? i.e. the leads that come in. Okay? It varies.
I think the quality sometimes is not as good as landing pages.
Yeah.
So you get high volume, but low quality.
Correct, yeah.
Low cost per lead.
Yeah. So you get lower cost per lead. And the reason you get that, just so you know, is Facebook love it because they keep all that data inside their platform. So they can then use that to sell to advertisers like me. They can target better. But the problem is the quality of data, as you rightly say, the quality of the lead isn't actually as good, and we've tested this. So I would recommend, we're at a crossroads at the moment where I've always said to people, don't go after leads, go after appointments. And tell Facebook you will pay you can't pay per appointment, but you say, I want to send it outside, like I've just showed you of Facebook, to land at that landing page and basically track. Once they've done the appointment, that's then when I'm going to kind of tell you I'm willing to carry on paying, so to speak. I am not going to turn the campaign off. Now, that takes a bit longer to get that working, as you can imagine, because there's more failure points along the way that need adjusting. But once you've got that, then you've got the ultimate, and that's kind of the best. However, for ease and quickness of seeing leads in, what we're seeing now work really, really well is a lead form, which basically on Facebook, you've probably seen these, you've done these yourself, for those who don't run it and don't know what they are. A lead form, essentially, you click the button on Facebook, it then pops up with kind of like a pre-filled thing, and there's a couple of steps to it, but there's a pre-filled box, and it's pre-filled your Facebook data automatically, your telephone number, your name, and your email. You can ask it some other stuff, but name, email, telephone number is all we're after. Now, theoretically, this should be good because that's the reset number, telephone number you need. If you get logged out of Facebook, you send a message to your number and all that stuff. And your email should be an email that you probably have to access because, again, if you get logged out of Facebook. But the problem is not all leads are created equal again, right? Because this is like most people who fill out these types of forms, and I do it, where you're sitting there at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night, had a couple of glasses of wine. Oh, that sounds interesting. Click, click, click. I've got no real commitment or interest in it because I'm not in that to fill anything out. I've just clicked a couple of buttons to submit what I want to do. So what we want to do is have this, but have a pre-qualifier. And what we do with that is a new thing. It only came out about 2 months ago. So what happens is that you have this step 1 on the lead form. And step 2 is that's page 1, if that makes sense. Then it goes to basically one page, which is still in that lead form, still in Facebook. So it's pre-filled this. But when they click this button that says next, it doesn't then just send them off to a website or say, thanks, we've got your data, so you don't have to chase it up. You send it here, and this is what they call conditional logic. And basically, you're saying to Facebook, when they click here, this button, it goes to this next step. And in here, what is the one qualifying question, and only do one, don't do more than one because we've tested it, that means you now know that in your eyes they're a better qualified lead than if they just auto-filled this form out. So are you interested in learning how to increase your income by 10 grand in the next 90 days? Yes or no? Yes. Great. They've now had to physically fill something out to say yes. That now means they're more qualified than someone who just pre-filled. If they say no, because it's just a multiple checkbox, yes or no, then basically it kind of goes step 3, or step 2A, let's call it that. Thank you, we're not interested. Go elsewhere. You're not our target market. If they say, so it's like a little radio button, if they say yes or no, if it's a yes, now they go to step 3, which is great, fantastic, you're qualified. Now you can click this button here, which goes out to the calendar. Or the video sales letter. Test both always. So what it means is you kind of get the best of both worlds because you get, let's say you get 100 leads, fill out step 1, you're going to get around about here, on average, about 40 leads actually go through this step to be qualified. And it doesn't really matter like too much what the question is. It's more about the psychological thing of saying, yes, I'm more qualified because I'm reading this question and I'm having to answer yes or no. And like I say, are you looking to get treatment done in the next 90 days? Are you are you worried about the colour of your teeth? It can be any real question, but relate it back to their pain, ideally. For a training company, we did one the other day, which was, are you worried about the upcoming regulations that are going to affect the industry? Yes or no? Yes, I am. Great, I know you are. Because then also it gives me a really good lead in when I am calling them. Hi, you registered for the free consultation. Now, I know you said you were worried about the upcoming regulations in the industry, right? Yes, I am. Oh, suddenly now I remember all this lead form thing that I filled out and et cetera, et cetera. So when you get that, you're going to get kind of 100 leads. You're going to get 40 that actually are good. And whether you bring these 100 leads into a CRM and start marketing to them, you can do. But really all we care about is this. But then the beauty is you're then going to get these people here. You're going to get about 10%. Well, a bit more actually, 20% to be fair. About 8 leads or so who actually book on your calendar. So you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting leads and you're getting actual consultations happen at the same time. So it kind of speeds up the process a little bit rather than just going take them away from Facebook, etc. Facebook typically then for most dental type practices, you're around, if it's a call booking, once we've kind of got a couple of good ads, what we're seeing now is about £40 a consult when we go direct to lander. When we do it this way, we're seeing a lead come in at around 15 per lead. But obviously we're getting some good numbers here that we can obviously, these 60, there's still some value in there, but we can mine it. But these here, obviously there's 32 leads there that are good. They're just not booked. So guess what? Get back on people per hour, you would. Someone call those leads up and say, why haven't you booked in yet? Now, that's where we find we get about an extra 40% on top. So now I'm getting kind of nearly 16 leads from 40. And it's cost me a little bit because I've got to pay someone to actually go and do it. Again, we're starting to use AI a little bit more here. This is called a setter. You may have heard this sort of mentioned before. But if you just want to be lazy and not do that bit, that way works really, really well right now. But it must have this bit. Must have this, what we call conditional logic bit here, which says, answer this question. If you're a no, we don't want to know. If you're a yes, then you're a yes. And then if you're really interested and you're going to book a calendar date, book the calendar date. I book the consult. Okay? So yeah, so that's what's working really, really well on Facebook, to be fair. And if you're doing that, that's where you're going to then make it work really, really well. And then really the ongoing part is just testing hooks, angles, testing different lead pages, testing them sending here, testing different audience patterns. There's about 1 million things. We test on average for every client around about 52 different variables at any one point, depending on ad budget and stuff like that, to always keep optimizing, because it's less about, like I say, the buttons in Facebook now. It's more about this. If instead of sending them here, we send them to a lander, do we send them to the video page or do we send them to the calendar page? All that kind of stuff. We're testing all those things to track it. But yeah. That's really it. I could talk for about another 5 hours, but I appreciate you've done really, really well because you guys are not marketers like I am and are passionate and geeky. I sit behind a desk all day, which is why I've got a body like this, eating donuts and drinking coffee, learning this stuff and applying it. But I think you've done really, really well. Obviously, I'm going to be around anyway. I'm 10 past, so I'll finish up, obviously, because I know you guys are probably hungry. But did you find that useful? Did it get you to think about marketing in a different way other than, I've just got to spend some money out and it's never going to work, so what's the point? To, it's an investment that if I invest in the right way, I should get a 2-to-1 return, cash collected that month, 6 or more times return over the lifetime, depending on what else you're selling them. And also then, the structure of the offer. That's probably, if anything else that you walk away with, just think about your marketing with the offer. Any marketing you do, but particularly more on Facebook than anywhere else, because we're interrupting them when they're scrolling through their feed. Your offer is key. And like I say, if you've never done any marketing before, even if you just start talking to people when you meet them in the street or at a networking event or whatever, start using your offer. Don't say, hi, I'm Mark from Dental Estate, whatever. Just say, oh, what do you do? Oh, hi, I'm Mark. I work with women who are 45 to 60. Anyone done BNI here? I don't know if you've done BNI. Business networking events they do every week, etc. Loads of small businesses. It's all referral program stuff, but they get you to stand up and say, hi, this is what I do. This is what I'm looking for. It's kind of like that. Anywhere you go, don't say who you are and what you do. Say the offer. You'll get a much better response. You'll get remembered, etc., over and over and over again. That's really the key thing. But the offer is the key thing, and then all that is kind of, if you know what you're doing, great, no problem. But I'm around, obviously, myself to about 4 o'clock-ish. I think Lucy's joined us as well. She'll talk more about the sales stuff and that kind of stuff. And obviously on the makeovers as well, I can get involved, not just in marketing, but business generally. And I always look for this in businesses, by the way. If you're ever looking to sell a business, I sort of buy businesses as well as part of what I've grown into. And I always look for what business has got a marketing structure in place. And if they're doing this and they've got this type of thing set up as a follow-up, and they've got like a couple of setters, and they've got like a Facebook ads running, they've got Google ads running, they've got something else running, that business is going to get a much bigger valuation in my eyes, because they've got a proven marketing system that they're not involved with. And if you do that, you're going to get at least another 2 to 3 times multiple, because you've got a structure in place. And even if you don't want to sell a business long term, act like you will, because then you're going to generate a lot more revenue, a lot more cash for you, and keep the profit as well. But that's a whole another story for another time. So that's really the key thing. But thank you ever so much for your time. Hopefully I've not bored you. Hopefully I found not quite as boring as accounting and numbers that you covered earlier, but probably next on the list. But hopefully you found something useful on that. Go and action it. Go and think. Always, love to know your outcomes, what happens. And I'm around for the rest of the day. And then, like I say, you'll be able to reach Lucy and I later on as well.